streaming for about 5 years, which is about the amount of time that I've been a content creator. But I still have a lot of like things to learn about and things like that.
Well, let's call it maybe not veteran YouTube streamers.
Yes,
Do you
yeah,
stream on
no, yeah.
YouTube or
Not
Twitch?
no, no. I mostly stream on Twitch.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've done some YouTube live streams here and there, but I mostly stream on Twitch. There's a lot more intuitive than YouTube. If you ever want to switch over.
Yeah. YouTube kind of seems like a nightmare.
Yeah, it's just not as intuitive as Twitch, but it gets the job done. I've definitely done some like multi streams where I streamed on Twitch and YouTube at the same time. That's been interesting, I guess. But yeah, no. Do you have any people on your stream yet?
I've got a couple
Okay, awesome.
checking in right now.
Yeah, I think you'll probably have more people on your streams because I think your fan base is a little more engaged in your content than they are in mine.
Well, I've never talked about Toy Story before directly. I've only really done Star Wars stuff. So
I got you.
yeah, that's right. The important thing is everyone has fun. Said Video City.
Awesome. Let me hang on. I may have to break the illusion for a second. I thought I put my thumbnail or your thumbnail in the video in my.
Oh, I forgot to tell you. I did.
Oh yeah, go ahead and send it over because I just went ahead and put the thumbnail you sent in my stream.
Yeah, downloads. Here it is.
I thought it.
Well, I did it. I did it with your face on it.
Oh, sick.
Yeah,
that works.
You want me to make one real quick with mine on it? This is the one that I made for mine.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Made it a little bit simpler. I did it with your face on it.
Yeah, well, I don't know why. Oh, you know what? I think I know why. Because OBS is taking over everything instead of it being directly to YouTube. So I need to let me see if I can change the thumbnail on YouTube or on OBS, or maybe I can't. I don't know. I've never done this before. Because usually when I stream on YouTube, I'm also streaming on Twitch. So Twitch has been my main thing. Yeah, let me. Not that it'll matter, because I don't think the thumbnail is gonna really change anything for on my end at least. But you can go ahead and send it, and I can try to like. I could try to like put it in there.
Yeah, we can always update it later on too.
Yeah, that's true.
But
let's see.
let me throw this. Where is it?
So my YouTube is not. It's not. My studio is not detecting that I'm going live, and or I can see that I'm live on my YouTube channel. That's interesting. It's very fascinating.
Let me. So you can see it on there.
Yeah, I'm live, but like the YouTube studio is not like
It's
not detecting that I'm live right now. So that's interesting.
Well, it kind of just grabbed a screenshot of us live, so I feel like that captures it good enough for now.
Yeah, it's
always update it later.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Yeah.
Chat, how is audio levels?
I'm gonna pull up your stream.
Can you hear us both pretty good?
Yeah, I'm seeing your chat right now. I got it on my phone. I'm just gonna put it on my laptop right here. Hey, let me advertise on Instagram real quick. Just get some people there. You see the new Spider-Man trailer?
I haven't seen it yet. It dropped today, right?
It dropped today. It's pretty sick, man. It's pretty sick.
I've been so busy.
Nah, I get it. I get it.
Maybe we can pull it up and watch it at the end of the stream if we have some time.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm very excited for that movie.
Me too. I think it's going to be good.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be good. It might be bad, but I hope it's good.
It has the potential to be the best Tom Holland Spider-Man movie at the very least, because I know it's not a high bar for a lot of people.
For me, that's a pretty high bar. Like his
really?
stuff is pretty good.
Did you like the Spider-Man movie, the MCU Spider-Man movies?
I did.
Because I know that there's a lot of people who didn't like the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies, and like I personally like them, but I can understand the criticism for them.
No, I definitely liked it.
Okay,
I thought that it was. I thought that there are definitely problems with them, but overall, I think he's a great Spider-Man, and I think that the stories that they've told about him, his character specifically, have been pretty strong, especially Homecoming. Super
Yeah,
strong start.
yeah, and I think like um, they're very well written, and like you said, Tom Holland is a great Spider-Man. But I can see the argument that he is not like a great movie Spider-Man compared to Toby and Andrew, just because. Hey, welcome to the stream, Jiff. Finally got one viewer on my end.
Yeah.
um, but like your hotel, what hotel you in Boston? I can't reveal that information, unfortunately. I don't want to get doxxed. Maybe when I leave, when I'm not here anymore. But,
Yeah,
um,
there you go.
but yeah, like I see like because like he has a lot of help from like all the MCU heroes. Like in the first movie, he had help from Tony Stark. In the second movie, he had help from uh, Nick Fury. And in the third movie, he was more on his own, but you still make the argument that he had help from like the other two Spider Men, even though that was cool.
Yeah.
Um, and like he definitely struggled in all three of the movies. And people make the argument he never struggled. He did struggle. He had to make some hard choices in those Spider-Man movies, but granted, the choices that he made in the grand scheme of things were kind of small compared to like the hard choices that Toby and Andrew had to make in their movies. So I can kind of see that argument, but I don't all the way agree with that. But I think with this movie, they have an opportunity to like kind of rectify that and give like a more gritty adult Spider-Man compared to what we had before with Tom Holland.
Yeah, I mean, I think kid, uh, having more of a kid Spider-Man
Hmm.
was a good way to start off.
Yeah.
But
Now
yeah,
we
we'll
got to
we'll
we
just
got to
have to see
grow
what
up a
they
little
do.
bit. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited.
Yeah, give me a second. I'm gonna check the audio levels real quick.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, yeah, I think we're good. Alrighty, so let's take a look. Let me know when you are ready to.
Yeah, I think we're probably gonna be talking mostly to your chat, because like I said, uh, my fans, quote unquote, are not uh as interactive as yours. Um, so I'm ready to start now. If you wanna get started,
Cool. Yeah, I mean we'll have people pop in and pop out all throughout.
for sure.
But yeah, most important thing for people watching to know whether you are watching now or watching in the future is that we are raising money for St. Jude.
Yes,
This is a
sir.
charity stream. We are very excited to get to be part of doing some good things for the cool people over there that are helping people out. Put that banner back up.
Yep.
We got the link in the description below. Any super chats that come in or donations or anything like that um, are all going to be donated. I was hoping to be able to have that the give ability to add that to the stream, but you have to have 10K subscribers to hit that.
And
I
you're
hit
almost
10K.
there.
I hit 10K today,
Oh,
but it's not
congratulations.
updated on. Well, thank you.
Hmm.
It's not updated on YouTube side yet, so they haven't unlocked the feature for me. So
That's crazy.
that's disappointing
No.
on there. But
Maybe next
yep,
stream. Maybe next debate stream we do.
next stream. Yeah,
Hmm.
this will be a recurring thing. The debate for charity.
Yeah,
I think
every
it's
month.
cool. Yeah, yeah, maybe once a month, maybe once a quarter, something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're gonna be talking about the Toy Story franchise in the lead up to the new one coming out, and Toy Story 4 is a topic that came up last time Perry and I were on stream together, about what was that, a year ago, year and a half ago?
About a year and a half
We were
ago,
on
yeah.
Yeah,
You guys,
Dr. Leo's.
yeah, you guys talking about the new How to Train Your, or the new at the time How to Train Your
Yeah.
Dragon movie, and then Toy Story 4 came up in conversation. And I was like, hold on, let me join the stream so I can defend a good movie because these guys don't get it. And then that's how we're here today.
That's right.
But as we'll talk
because
about, oh, go ahead.
I was just saying I am on the negative side of Toy Story 4,
Mm-hmm.
and Mr. Perry is on the pro side of
Yeah,
Toy
and
Story 4.
and I did make a video recently that came out today talking about my current thoughts on Toy Story 4. But now they're a little bit more nuanced. Like I still think it's a good movie overall, but like I do have my own set of criticisms, and the criticisms that other people have I can understand a little bit better after rewatching it. But I still think it's a good movie, and you know I'll defend what I think is good in this debate that we'll have tonight.
Yeah, and I will try and change your mind.
Yeah, and
If
you
you
might.
change
We'll
my
see.
mind, great.
Yeah,
We'll see.
We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But we're just here to
But,
have fun and you know give the charity and just you know support a franchise that we both grew up with and loved.
Absolutely. So that being said, we're going to go ahead and get things started here. I would
Sounds
like to
good.
invite you first, if you don't mind, to kind of give your background on the Toy Story franchise, whether you grew up with it or joined it late, or kind of, you know, what your experience is, what your kind of brief thoughts are about the franchise as a whole. We'll go through kind of the plot of each movie real quick, just kind of a brief overview to just chat about what we had leading up, because obviously this is movie number 4 in the
Yeah.
franchise that we're talking about. So we
Mhm.
gotta lay some groundwork. Also, my kiddos are here at the house with me right now, so if you hear some yelling in the background, it's they're having fun.
Yeah, all good, all
So,
good.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, going with the just my history with the franchise. So I believe, and I could be wrong. My parents have not told me otherwise, but I believe Toy Story 1 and Toy Story 2 were the very first movies I ever watched in my life. If not the first movies I watched, they are the first movies I remember watching. I have a very like deep love for this franchise, and the love has grown stronger ever since I grew up. I remember, so like I said, I grew up watching 1 and 2 religiously. Like, I watched all the extra features. I remember seeing. I know we don't like him now, but you know, John Lasseter and his commentary and his the teams like just
Behind the scenes.
behind the scenes of like them making the movie and how they the process of making the very first computer animated movie, and that kind of made me want to be a creator. I also wanted to be an animator at one point, but then I realized I didn't like coloring, so I gave up on that dream. But I still want to be like some form of creator, and Toy Story definitely influenced that viewpoint or that love for creation and stuff like that in me. And I remember, you know, when Toy Story 3 came out, I was probably around 10 years old. I don't know how old you were, but I was still relatively, like, I was still a kid when Toy Story 3 came out, but I was still excited to see it just because I always wanted a Toy Story 3 because all I had was Toy Story 1, Toy Story 2. And just growing up with all those, the trilogy, like, from, like, I guess, being born to being, like, an adult now has been, like, a great experience. And just rewatching these movies over and over again, getting more and more out of it. It's just been a very fun and fulfilling experience. And I don't know if I did a great job of expressing my love for the franchise, but it is one of my favorite film franchises of all time. Some of my favorite characters of all time. Buzz Lightyear is like a comfort character for me. Yeah, no, it's a great franchise, very high quality franchise. A franchise that doesn't really feel like it's for just kids and family members, but just for everybody. Like I think you can be an adult who doesn't have any kids and still get some sort of fulfillment out of watching the Toy Story movies. And yeah, and I think while Toy Story 4 is a very flawed movie, and it definitely doesn't reach the same highs as the first 3 movies, I still think it has its own place in the franchise overall. Even if the messaging was a little bit mixed, I do think it still stands on its own as it stands high with the other 3 movies, even if it stumbled even if it stumbled along the way. Yes, thank you.
There you
But
go.
yeah, that's kind of my overall thoughts. Kind of fumbled through that, but yeah. What about you? What is your history and your feelings on the Toy Story franchise overall?
Yeah, so Toy Story, the first one, just like you, was one of the first movies I remember watching as a kid. Actually, Toy Story 2 is the one that I have a greater affinity for.
I think so too. I think I watched that one
The
more.
reason being is because my mom didn't like the way Woody and Buzz fought and yelled at each other and called each other idiots and stupid, and so she didn't really want us watching the first Toy Story.
I got you. That's
The
funny.
second Toy Story was more up her alley, less of that type of stuff.
Yeah,
But
it had all the existential crises for a kid.
yeah,
enjoy.
yeah, exactly. And so, but both of those were a big part of my childhood, along with all of Pixar, for sure. But yeah, so we grew up with those, and just like you said, like the artistry behind those movies, the way that they did something different than anything that was ever done before. Specifically Toy Story 1, but also Toy Story 2, in the sense of how it was, supposed to be a direct to video sequel, and they really fought hard and actually put the work in to make it something more than just that, and got it into theaters and got it all the acclaim that it very well deserves. And then Toy Story 3 came out 2010. I was a teenager at the time, and I really, really like that movie. There are a lot of things. The way that I phrased it is that it's bookended by greatness on the beginning and the end of the movie. There's some weak parts in between, some motivation things, which I'll talk about in a minute. But
For sure.
there's some really great moments, great jokes, and then obviously the ending is really strong. And then Toy Story 4 came out, or was announced, and I was like,
Why are we doing this?
why are we doing this? Why
Why-
are we going back to this
We didn't
well?
need this.
We had the perfect ending. To do anything other than that ending, to change it, you would have to work so hard to make it worthwhile. And I don't believe that they achieved that, personally. I think that they regressed a lot of the characters pretty hard, changed a lot of the motivations, even went back in time to change motivations
Yeah, yeah.
that were not present prior to that movie coming out. So, but yeah, so let's get into it. Let's first talk about Toy Story 1, just briefly. And I've got notes that I made when I went through the movies, but feel free to jump in if you have anything to add or something to mention. I'll let you finish your food.
Yeah, no, good. Yeah, I'll you can give your synopsis and you can talk about your feelings. I'll add on to it. 'Cause, I have my own thoughts and feelings too about we can make it
Yeah,
work.
so Toy Story 1, obviously we all know the plot of it. Woody is kind of the big toy on campus. He's the king of Andy's room. And then it's Andy's birthday. He gets this new toy Buzz, and it kind of shakes up the entire room. And Woody goes on a big old character arc of realizing that his relationship with Andy is, he's kind of taken that for granted his whole life of being the favorite toy, being the one who is gets preferential treatment compared to the other toys, and he kind of has to overcome that in order to accept Buzz as part of the room. And simultaneously, Buzz is going on his whole arc of realizing that he's a toy and what that means, and what his purpose is in life. And on a thematic level, I think it's a very strong movie. I think it's very well written, very well paced.
And even though it's like, I think, well, besides Toy Story 4 now, it is the weakest of the trilogy, of the original trilogy. I still think it has a lot of like strong moments and it sets up a lot of themes that we'll see in the later three movies. And of course, I think it sets up some things in the fourth movie, but we'll get to that. But I just I don't know. It's a very simple movie. Like, it's a very simple movie. It's basically just a buddy comedy with two people who are butting heads, and they're put in a situation where they have to kind of team up and become friends. But I think the way that it's executed is just so, like, it feels effortlessly entertaining. I don't know. Like, just the fact that what Buzz and Woody's chemistry in Toy Story
Mm-hmm.
1 is so like it's just so natural. Like one you got them being two different representing two different franchises. You got Buzz representing sci-fi, Woody representing westerns. So they're already opposing on those ends, but then they have different like moral codes, but you also understand both. So Woody's more grounded. He recognizes that he's a toy, and he's more like even in the beginning before you meet Buzz, he's also a little bit more competent than the other toys. Remember in the beginning of the movie, when the Rex knocks down the walkie-talkie, while they're trying to figure out like we're trying to figure out what Andy's opening for his presents, and then the batteries knock out of the walkie-talkie. All of them can't figure out how to like put the batteries back in the walkie-talkie except Woody. And
Yep.
they find out they put the battery once Woody comes back down and does it himself. So he's already more competent than most of the toys. So that you already set that up. And yeah, Buzz
He also has
Lightyear.
opposable thumbs.
He also has opposable thumbs. But Mr. Potato Head has opposable thumbs too, but he still couldn't figure it out, which is weird.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I always found out. I always in my headcanon. I don't know how old they are. I know there's a Pixar day. I always thought Mr. Potato Head was older than Woody, but that's beside the point. But yeah, Buzz.
I don't know.
Have you heard that theory of like their origin story of like Mr. Potato Head and Woody being Andy's dad's toys? But they think that that's maybe they're the same age. I don't know, but I'm getting off topic. Go ahead.
Yeah, Mr. Potato Head was first released in 1949.
Yeah,
so
he's an old
they were
toy.
definitely concurrent.
Yeah. But
with each other, and I don't think that's even necessarily a fan theory. I think it's pretty much confirmed that
they've known each other for a long time.
Woody was Andy's dad's toy, which I think is really important for the way that this franchise plays out. But,
right.
Go ahead with what you're saying.
Yeah, and then with Buzz Lightyear, we all know he's wrong because he thinks he's an actual space ranger, and he's in reality he's a toy, but he's just operating off of his own logic, like what he I guess thought he was brought up to do, and that doesn't make him an idiot. That doesn't make him a dim-witted person. That's just how he views the world, and his arc is just figuring out that okay, no, he's actually a whole entirely different thing than what he thought he was, and I think that's just so cool because they don't write him as a jerk, they don't write him as an idiot, they just write him as someone who thinks he's something else than he actually is, and I think that's just such a smart way to approach a character like that, and I think Buzz in 1 and 2 are like the best he's ever written as, and he kind of falls off a little bit in 3, and he definitely falls off in 4, but I just like how they write Buzz, like you think like, oh, he's just like the fat, flashy, fun character for the kids to enjoy and stuff. And as a kid, I always, Buzz Lightyear is my favorite character. But no, like if you look at how they wrote him, they actually had put some thought and effort into making him a competent character, just with his own set of morals and his own set of, I guess, rules or whatever, And I think it's just cool that we're able to do that in their very first movie.
Yeah, I think Buzz is probably the most consistent character across the 4 movies and across the 3 movies.
Yeah,
Number 4 is wildly out of character.
His worst movie.
But we'll definitely talk
get
about
to that. Yeah.
Yeah. One of the things that I love about Toy Story 1, again, I feel like it's the Fellowship of the Ring of this trilogy, where most people wouldn't pick it as their favorite, but without that movie, you don't have all the groundwork set. Exactly, you need to set all the groundwork. One of the things that I really like that the movie did is that when the toys come to life, they retain a lot of the identity of what they were designed to be, right? So like the army men act like army men, and that's kind of fun because they recognize that they're toys, but they also like recognize their identity of what they were created to be,
right?
And they kind of have been imbued with that spirit by the way Andy has played with them. Slinky wags his tail like a dog, and barks and can speak dog.
Right. We don't find out until the second movie. He talks dog in the first movie. He does. There's like one little scene where they're trying to find Buzz, and then maybe that was the second. Never mind.
It's the second movie.
Yeah, okay, I was right. My bad.
To Buster.
Yeah.
Oh, you're good. Mr. Potato Head looks like a grumpy old man, and he sounds like a grumpy old man.
Yeah.
Rex isn't scary, but he wants to be scary. He has that desire to fulfill his destiny as a T-Rex. There's really good jokes in this movie. Way to go, Idaho.
Funny. It is so funny.
Yeah.
Mr.
You know,
Potato Head kissing his butt with his lips when
yeah,
Woody was talking about how much he loves Andy.
yep, yep.
So
And then
good.
give me Buzz, give me a hand, and he throws his hand up onto the onto the bench. Um,
Buzz, look at the
but
alien. Where? Ha!
yeah, yeah, exactly.
I love that.
And there's some things that are established about the characters themselves, kind of like what we talked about with Woody's arc. You know, he kind of starts off as kind of an a-hole. Like he's not nice to the other toys. He kind of rules them with a vinyl fist. His only real friend in Andy's room is Slinky,
And Bo Peep.
because you know that. And Bo Peep, yeah, that's a little more than a friend, though. From
Yeah,
what we can
yeah.
tell,
Yeah.
at least at that point. But nobody else is really likes him or is friends with him other than Slink, and even he loses.
I beg to differ. I think people respected him. They just gave him a hard time. Like, I don't think Mr. Potato Head actually legitimately hates Woody. I think he just likes to give him a hard time because that's just his personality. Same thing with him and Rex. Like I think Rex, give me an argument. Rex likes Woody.
Rex. Yeah, I mean he would follow Woody, but I'm talking about the first like opening scene where he calls the meeting and everybody kind of begrudgingly walks over to hear his meeting, and he's kind of yelling at them and not belittling them necessarily, but you know kind of talking down to them a little bit. You know, if you don't have a moving buddy, get one. You know,
Yeah.
that type of thing.
Yeah,
But
I guess I don't really see it that way. I know he had. I think I see Woody pre Sid as someone that has a chip on his shoulder. Like he is a little short with people,
a little arrogant.
a little arrogant. Yeah, and that's because he just he doesn't have nothing to worry about. He's Andy's like top toy. Like he has nothing to worry about in the world.
Yeah.
Until Buzz comes in. But like
Exactly.
I wouldn't necessarily say he ruled Andy's room with an iron fist, just with more authority and with a chip on his shoulder. I don't think he, because if you really think about it, like the fact that he lets Mr. Potato Head talk smack to him and doesn't say anything about it, I think that shows like he didn't really care what people thought of him, or at least he didn't care enough to call him out on it, if that makes sense. So I wouldn't say he ruled Andy's room with an iron fist, but I guess that's my opinion.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it's more of like when they're all concerned about the new presents, like the new toys, he kind of dismisses them.
Yeah.
Not because he wants to assuage their fears, like, and make them feel better. It's because he's like, hey, none of you are getting replaced because none of you were his favorite anyway.
And that's definitely, I can say that's arrogance.
Nothing's going to change that.
I can say that's arrogance.
Yeah, that's his arrogance for
Yeah.
sure. But and even when Buzz shows up, he's kind of dismissive of him until he sees the other toys and how impressed they are and how much attention that Buzz is getting.
Yeah.
And then he goes, "Oh, maybe that's how Andy's gonna feel about him." And that's when he starts to get jealous and starts to kind of neg Buzz about like, you're not flying. That's not a laser. It's like, he kind of, his insecurity starts to get the better of him, and he starts to attack him. And so his character arc in this movie as he goes along is kind of realizing you have those moments where he has the opportunity to abandon Buzz after they're on the run together. He has the opportunity to abandon him and just jump back into the car or in Molly's stroller.
Oh yeah.
No, this
at
is Pizza Planet.
Yeah.
Where he, at first the motivation is, oh, I can't show my face in that room without Buzz. The other
Yeah,
kids will kill
yeah.
me.
Which is, I think, is a fair motivation to have. 'Cause at that point,
Which
he
is
does not
fair.
like Buzz. He does not like
Right.
Buzz.
But at the end, it turns into, Andy really likes you. You're important to him. I can't go back without you. I need to save you.
Yeah.
And then that begrudging friendship kind of
Turns to a genuine
comes to play.
friendship.
Yeah, and it's really good. I really like the way that ends. There are a couple questions with the world building that aren't really answered and never really get answered.
Like
so,
the most popular one is like, why does Buzz think he's a space ranger, and why does he go stiff with everyone else?
That's number one on my world building.
Yeah, that's like a huge one.
Critiques list. Why does Buzz freeze? There are some good ones, like we know how toys curse. That son of a building block, was very funny. You get the introduction of batteries being connected to the kind of life force of toys with batteries, which I think is really interesting.
Not every toy has a battery though. Like Slinky,
not every toy
Rex,
has.
Mr.
Right.
Potato Head, Ham, they don't have batteries
Right, but RC gets tired and kind of almost dies when his
because his
battery
battery's
runs out.
running out. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
and
just
so it's like,
inconsistent.
yeah, it's not. Well, it is consistent because other toys with batteries have that same issue if their batteries come out.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
But
It's not a universal life source for all toys.
Right, exactly. So it's
Yeah.
like, it's an interesting question to think about. But yeah, that's Toy Story 1 in a very brief nutshell. We could spend
Yeah.
a lot of time talking about that.
Great,
but
great movie. Still holds up.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Obviously set the stage for the golden era of Pixar.
Yeah.
And then I think that the height of, while they were in that area of being really competent, putting out really great movies, we get Toy Story 2 a couple years later.
Yep.
So immediately what you notice is a huge leap in the animation quality
Yeah.
between Toy Story 1 and Toy Story 2.
At times, it looks like comparable. I don't know if you noticed this in your recent rewatch of all the movies, but at times, Toy Story 2 looks comparable to Toy Story 3.
Yeah.
Which is very impressive. And that movie is like, what, 27 years old now?
Yeah, and it on a lot of that's going to go to like the digital remastering and everything.
Oh,
that
yeah,
went
that's
into
true.
that.
That's true. Yeah, I
But
didn't
but
know
that being said, even just not just the fidelity of the pixel count or whatever, but actually just the animation style is a lot more fluid. Everything
Yeah.
moves really smoothly. It's a much more modern in the
Mhm.
animation quality, which doesn't make a movie good or bad,
Right.
but it's just something that opening scene when he's flying through space and he lands on the planet in the
Yeah.
video game world, where you're like, this is something else. This is a whole different thing.
Quick side tangent, real quick. Have
Yeah.
you ever played the Toy Story 3 movie game?
I played a demo of it.
You played
when
that?
it
Okay,
came
yeah,
out.
we played. Okay, that's considered to be one of the greatest licensed games of all time. But there is a level where you can replay the opening of Toy Story 2, and it is such a great level. It was
That's
so
fantastic.
It was so fun to because I grew up watching that movie. I think I played it when the movie came out, so I was still a 10-year-old. But like, it was so fun just like actually playing that scene because I love that moment in Toy Story 2 where he's just like flying around and then he's like using his laser to be all those robots and fighting. It was such a cool moment. It was such like it was very faithfully recreated in the game. I know in the Toy Story 2 game you can play as Buzz Lightyear 2 and you can shoot and all stuff, but in Toy Story 3
It's a step up.
they had the graphics to actually recreate the scene pretty faithfully. But side tangent over, I just want to ask if
No. That's
yeah.
great. That's great. I need to check that out.
Yeah, they're remastering it at the end of the year, so you should definitely check it out. Yeah.
Yeah, when that comes out, I'll definitely check it out.
Yeah.
So the big thing with Toy Story 2 obviously is the big lore dump we get about Woody's past, Woody's
Yes.
roundup. We get from Andy's mom that when she's talking to Al, that she says, no, this is a family toy, like this is an old family toy. So that kind of confirms that it was most likely Andy's dad's toy, because Woody's roundup was in the 50s, and that's when Woody toys would have been sold.
Right.
And so, first of all, Woody looks great for his age.
Yeah, no, definitely does.
And that made me kind of mad at the trailer for Toy Story 5 when they're
Yeah.
like, oh, you're an old toy, you're starting to bald. It's like,
Yeah,
he was 50 in Toy Story 2.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's funny, but we'll see how they handle it. I won't have any judgment for Toy Story 5 until it comes out. But
Yeah, no, it was just a little like, but he was already an old toy.
yeah, I get
but,
that. I get that. That's fair.
Yeah. It kind of brings up those questions of like, okay, well, why doesn't he remember his origin? Why doesn't
Yeah, like
remember
did
that
he
was
have a
part of
Buzz
Woody's
Lightyear
roundup?
moment when he first
Did
came
he have a
alive?
Buzz Lightyear moment back when he was, Andy's dad's toy? Did he, have some sort of amnesia? Has he just been so long that he doesn't even like he's put it past him?
Yeah,
And he's just been a toy for so long that's what
that's
he is
all
now.
he is. Yeah,
And then it kind of brings up questions, the fact that he was Andy's dad's toy, of like, okay, well, that means that he went through everything that we saw him go through in Toy Story 2 and Toy Story 3 with Andy's dad. And so
well, the theory
It's never
is
brought-
they think Andy, like our Andy, is Andy's dad because Andy's dad and Andy had the same name, so Andy is Andy Jr. and Andy's dad is Andy Sr. And I guess they locked Woody and Mr. Potato Head away, and Andy's dad passed away, but then the mom, I guess, gave it to the son, and they just didn't know that Andy
That
Senior,
it's a
Andy
different
Junior was.
Andy.
Yeah, exactly. That's the theory, but I don't know if that's the theory that
Interesting.
Pixar went with. I think that the theory is based off of some like a backstory they actually came up with the toys, but they obviously didn't want to put that in the movie because that is a little dark.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Okay.
that's the theory.
Well,
But sorry.
yeah. I mean, if that's the case, then that's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But either way, it does raise those questions of what was his experience with Andy's dad like, in the way that it relates to all the things that he seems to be going through for the first time with Andy.
With Andy.
We'll call him Andy
Andy
Jr.
Junior. Yeah.
Mrs. Potato Head, instant legend.
Love Mrs.
Like
Potato
she's
Head.
fantastic. She's my queen.
Yeah. She's
Um,
great.
she is
I
fantastic.
think she's
Reminds
my
me a
favorite
lot of.
character in 3 too. She had probably some of the best moments in 3.
She has some very funny moments in
Yeah,
3,
yeah.
for sure. But yeah, to introduce a character that late into the series in number 2, and have it be instantly like, yep, that's a fantastic, like, you've been here the whole time type
Yeah,
of character.
and you can say the same. And I know you're going to mention them soon, but you can say the same about Jesse and Bullseye. Like they just fit
Oh, yeah.
so well in Toy Story 2 that it's almost like they were always there from the first movie because they fit
Yeah.
in so well.
1,000%.
Yeah.
And to be fair, even though I am not as big a fan of Toy Story 3 as I am of the other ones, I think Ken and Barbie, their whole dynamic was really well done.
Yeah, I
and
like
that
Ken
it
and
feels
Barbie.
like, okay, this is what Ken and Barbie would be like in the Toy Story world.
Yeah,
But Toy Story 2, we have that legendary toy restoration scene, where Woody's getting put back together.
yeah, that's a great one.
That I have a visceral memory of being a kid and watching the Q-tip go towards Woody's eye, and like having that like
Ugh.
like a visceral reaction to that. Like,
You
oh
can
my
feel the
God, like,
Q-tip. On
yeah,
your
that was
eye.
even before like 3D was a big
Right?
big
Did
thing.
you ever
just-
see Toy Story 1 and 2 in 3D?
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
Did they release them?
Yeah, and like a
Oh.
year before Toy Story 3 came out, they released the first 2 movies in 3D, and I watched that with my family.
That would have been great.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah,
It was pretty cool.
that I'm sure they'll do it again for Toy Story 6.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
But yeah, and then you it's a moment with no dialogue. It's a scene where it's just quiet and the
Yeah.
music is carrying it. And then you have that moment where the music kind of dies down and the paints over the word Andy, and you kind of feel that in your soul. You're like, oh, like this is not how toys are supposed to be.
Yeah.
Like they're not supposed to be these collectibles in the sense of like their ultimate purpose is to be played with by kids. And as far as I can tell, and correct me or if you picked up something different, the theme of this movie is about identity, right?
Yeah.
Who you are versus who you were, quote unquote, designed to be. Buzz kind of went through that with his awakening, but this is Woody having his moment of going, okay, I was designed as this toy, and now I'm a collectible. Like, is that my identity? Is as this collectible that's supposed to be in a museum and like preserved for eternity, or is my identity to be a toy and to be there for Andy, regardless of my material value? Kind of what brings Woody back to reality from his kind of getting caught up in the moment of going to Japan and being in the toy museum is actually taking "You've Got a Friend in Me" song and making it diegetic to the movie and being part of Woody's roundup, and that song being from the first movie. So obviously they didn't have, maybe they did, but I doubt Randy Newman had this moment in mind when he wrote it for Toy Story 1, and it being such a relevant song to this moment, I think is just such a great way to tie everything back in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Make it thematic, and some other folks might be smarter than I am, but none of them will ever love you the way that I do, and that's kind of the realization that Woody has is like,
Yeah.
okay, oh, Andy is my guy. I'm not going to get the same level of adoration from these big wigs.
I like that you got a friend of me works in multiple ways. I think in the first movie it definitely, well, you can say it works for Andy and Woody's relationship, but it also works for Buzz and Woody's relationship.
Buzz
right?
and Woody.
Yeah, and you can make it for both. Like obviously in Toy Story 2 they very much made it for Andy, made it as a reference for Andy and Woody's relationship, but it also works as just a normal friend song, the equals that Woody and Buzz are. They both being toys and both having their backs for each other.
Yep.
And it's just like a very smart song that kind of goes beyond like, oh, this is a generic like theme song for a kids movie. Like, oh no, it actually ties into the themes of the Toy Story movies in multiple ways.
Yeah, and it's
Um,
such a great way for for uh, a case study. That's the word I'm thinking of. A case
mhm.
study for writers who are coming into a franchise and going, okay, what do we have at our disposal? How do we integrate that into what we're making now in a way that is adding to and not detracting from the things
Yeah,
that were there before.
and well, go ahead, go ahead.
No, yeah, that's all I had to say on
Yeah,
that.
and we'll definitely touch on this again when we get to Toy Story 4. But I know a lot of people, and because I've seen a couple of video essays on Toy Story 4 or not on how like it's not a good movie or it's not a good Toy Story movie. They use Toy Story 2 as like a main reason why Woody would never leave Bonnie and his friends because he learned a lesson in Toy Story 2 to not do that, to be a child's toy and uh, not be like a pretty much an antique item or a museum piece. Be a part of a set essentially, and be loved by children and like the world for all time.
Hmm.
I think like I think that's definitely the message that Toy Story 2 is going for. Like, yeah, a toy should be a child's plaything, and that should be the main purpose of a toy. And I still think that, but I also don't think it's a bad. I don't think it's bad for a toy to want to be an antique if that's what they want to do, and that's something that I think Toy Story 4 was trying to communicate. But after rewatching it, I don't think it communicated that idea very well. But I don't think Woody would be making a bad choice if he decided to go to Japan with Sneaky Pete, Jesse, and Bullseye if that's what he wanted to do. But it isn't what he wanted to do. He realized that no, I actually like being a child's toy. I actually do want to continue my relationship with Andy and see him grow up and see the things he can do in college and stuff like that. And I think that is a beautiful conclusion for him to come through at that time at that moment in life in his life at that moment. So it works for Toy Story 2. And I think like him making a different decision, and we'll get to that decision again in Toy Story 4. I think that's still within his character just because he's in a different place in his life. I also think Stinky Pete is justified for feeling the way that he feels, but he becomes a bad guy because he forced his views onto everyone else, and he took his animosity towards not being chosen by any kid out on like Buzz Lightyear and Woody for actually being played with and all that stuff, so he can like force his own
Yeah.
views on everyone else, which I think is a great motivation for a villain and a good twist villain. And this is before twist villains was really like a cliche in most Disney movies, but he's one of the first twist villains, and he's one of the best twist villains for a reason. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
no, Stinky Pete's very good.
yeah,
The line that you're kind of talking about that's referenced a lot for Toy Story 4, and full transparency, I'll be referencing it in our discussion about Toy Story 4.
mm,
Is Buzz saying, somewhere in there's a toy that told me that life's only worth living if you're being loved by a kid.
mm-hmm.
And then Woody's like, this is my only chance, and he says,
To
your
do what
only
with
chance for what?
yeah,
To watch kids from behind glass and never be loved again?
some life,
Some life.
yeah,
And so I don't think it's necessarily, and again, we'll get into this later, but that it was, Woody would have been making it wouldn't have been a bad choice. I think it would have been a bad choice. I think he would have regretted it. I think he would have been miserable. I think that Jesse and Bullseye would have been miserable as well. Stinky Pete would have been Stinky Pete and tried to hold it all together. But I think he would have regretted it, and I think that Buzz being there to throw those words back in Woody's face really is what brought him back to reality of like, oh, I'm not special because I'm a collector's item. I'm special because Andy cares about me. And then when it comes to Stinky Pete himself, I love him as a villain. He's
yeah,
a fantastic
yeah.
villain.
I agree.
And he has one like sentence that kind of explains his entire motivation as a villain, where he's like, sitting on a dime store shelf watching every other toy be sold.
Yeah, that's
You
what I was
go,
referencing to.
yeah,
Just
yeah,
now.
yeah.
Yeah,
You go, oh my gosh, that is.
that's a
Oh,
good
he's
motivation
evil.
for yeah,
He's
exactly.
evil, but there's a reason for him to be evil. He has
Good
a motivation.
Yeah,
His only value is tied to being mint in the box, not because anybody cares about him. His value is being a collectible.
yeah,
But in his pursuit of maximizing that value and being put in a place of honor, he actually ruined the one thing about him that's valuable. He came out of the box.
Right.
He's not mint in the box anymore, and so the one thing that he saw himself as valuable, he destroyed himself in his
I didn't think of it that
pursuit
way.
of that, which is really tragic for him.
Yeah.
And he gets his comeuppance in the end.
Yeah.
But what's great about it, if you think about it, is his punishment, quote unquote, is he gets to be a toy.
Yeah.
He gets to be loved by a little girl and played with, and drawn with markers all over his face. But if you think about his actual destiny, it's not, oh, you're this isn't really a punishment. Like, he's experiencing for the first time in his life being played with.
Yeah.
And for him, like, that's almost like a compassionate prison sentence of like, yeah, you're gonna go,
Also-
you're gonna be a girl toy, but you're gonna get to experience what it's like to be a toy.
Also, did you notice it's a little bit of a, I guess an error, like a continuity error. You notice, like, so when they put him in the box, it cuts to him, or they put him in the Barbie bag. It cuts to Sticky Pete being in the Barbie bag, and then it cuts to the toys reacting to him being in the Barbie bag, but they're still in the conveyor
Yeah.
belt.
Yeah.
But it's like they're reacting to him as he's being taken away, but they're in two different rooms.
They can't even see him.
Yeah, exactly.
I always kind of thought of that as like they stuffed him in the bag and sent him on the conveyor belt.
Yeah,
and
you can think of it
sent
that too, but the way that
Like,
they react
yeah.
is obvious that the filmmaker
It's like
wants
out
you
of
to
order.
think. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, going back to what you were saying about Woody and Jesse and Bullseye being miserable just being in the museum, I think that is a possibility, like that they will be miserable. I'm just saying, like, I don't think it would be wrong for them to want that, and then realizing, oh, maybe this isn't good, or maybe they'll realize, oh no, I like this. I like this being looked at and being loved by people. I think we will never know that, but I do know, and we can both agree that Woody made it a choice because of how he's feeling at the time. Like, he does see value out of being a child's toy because he's already had this investment in being Andy's toy that he doesn't want to get rid of that. Which I think we both can agree with that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and again, I think, there is a toy that exists that no kid would really want to play with because it wouldn't be fun to play with, and that toy could find fulfillment and find value in being on display and in getting recognition that way. I'm not denying that at all.
Yeah.
But I think that for Woody, it was the wrong choice.
Yeah, and
even
I
if
agree with
he-
that too. I agree
yeah.
with that too.
Yep, and I think it would have been an out of character choice, and he was acting out of character. He was acting emotionally, right?
Yeah, he was.
His decision to stay came right after Jesse gave her whole monologue
Yeah.
about, what happened to her and how this is, if Woody leaves, they go back into storage. What a horrifying reality. And so he decides to stay, kind of caught up in the emotion of that, but not really thinking about the obvious alternative, which is,
He'll never
come with
play
me.
with it again.
Right. Come
Yeah.
with me and come be Andy's toy. He's got a little sister, like all that stuff. So
Yeah, and I agree with that. I agree with that. And I'm not saying that Woody at that time period would have confidently made that choice and not have regretted it, because that's a good point. But it isn't wrong for him to make that choice if that's what he thought he wanted to do. Because another common argument, and we'll get to it again when we get to Toy Story 4, his decision at the end of that movie was selfish, and which and that's why a lot of people didn't like it, because they don't think Woody would be selfish and do something that would benefit him. But if you look back at Toy Story 2, he almost did, and I don't think he would have been wrong for wanting to do that, because I think if he made a choice for himself, I mean, he's making a choice for himself. Like, we can't really fault the man for doing that. Even if he would have been miserable, and I think we both agree that he would have been miserable at the end of the day, I think the choice that he made wouldn't have made him a bad person or selfish because he made a choice for himself. Because at the time, like, yeah, that's a legitimate fear of, like, oh man, like, I got broken. Andy may never want to play with me ever again. Like, I'm never gonna experience the love of a child ever again because I got broken. That's a very real fear that you can apply to a lot of aspects of life. So I don't think him making a potentially selfish decision is wrong at all.
I think and again, we'll talk about this later. We
Yeah.
keep saying that.
Yeah.
We keep talking about it.
Yeah.
But I think later on we'll dive into this more. But I think a lot of it comes down to what is the purpose of a toy? Like, what is the destiny of a toy?
Yeah.
Because obviously they have some level of free will, but what is a toy designed to be? How is it going to find its greatest fulfillment? And is it really a person, or is it a personified toy that is designed to be there for their kid, or be passed off when their kid is ready to pass them off? Like what is that? But back to Toy Story 2, just to wrap this up.
Yeah.
They have some of the best jokes in the series.
Yeah.
How do you
Pretty
spell
fun.
FBI? The Mr. Angry Eyes.
I don't want to use my head.
Yep. I don't want to use my head. Who's behind?
I am
Mine.
your father.
Yeah.
No.
Exactly.
I
I'm a
did
married
it.
spud.
I
I'm a married
finally
spud. I'm a married
deserved.
spud. I'm a married
Father.
spud. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's funny too. That's funny
Yeah.
too.
Wheezy's singing voice at the end.
Oh yeah, that was great.
All
That was
the
great.
outtakes. Funny.
Yeah,
Funny
it's a great movie. It's a great movie.
And throughout this, we see Woody has kind of, his character has grown from the first movie to the second movie. He's much kinder and more empathetic from my point of view. He
Yeah,
started
I
off
think
in
he
Toy
is.
Story 1, and in this one he's more empathetic. He's helping Buzz, like, hey, remember, toys with batteries need to be changed. Toys at the bottom of the box need to be rotated.
Yes.
Like he seems to be much more about the toys instead of just about him and Andy.
Yeah.
He rescues Wheezy, going out of his way to do that. When
Yeah.
in the last one he pushed a toy out of the window. Now
Yeah.
he's going out of it
On accident. On accident.
on accident. But
He still did it, but on
purpose.
accident.
He was trying to push him behind the dresser, and
Yeah.
instead he pushed him out the window.
He still tried to push him on purpose, regardless.
Yeah, exactly. But his resolution at the end, after what we just talked about, is I can't stop Andy from growing up, but I wouldn't miss it for the world.
Yeah.
Like this is my kid. I wouldn't do anything to not be there for all of his moments, whether he wants to play with me or not. And he recruits Jesse and Bullseye to be with that. And at the end of the movie, his final line is, it'll be fun while it lasts. And besides, I'll have old Buzz Lightyear to keep me company
To
for
infinity.
infinity and beyond.
For Infinity and Beyond. Yep.
Buzz, he is fully on board with being, Woody's right-hand man.
Yeah,
He's
and-
helping him. There's no power struggle
No.
ever. Like, even from the beginning, he was never trying to usurp Woody.
And
But
he never
now-
was. Like, that was never his purpose. Yeah.
Never his purpose.
Yeah.
And even now, throughout the course of the movie, he's always just, yep, I'm your right-hand man. Whatever you need, I'm there. When Woody is stolen, he immediately goes to
He
his
immediately
rescue
jumps in action. Yeah.
without hesitation. He rallies the troops. We will not rest until he's back safe in Andy's room. He meets the other Buzz, and we get that fun interaction of seeing
Yeah.
how nutty he gets to see how nutty he was. He's the one. He's the voice of reason that brings Woody back to Earth.
Yeah. I think Buzz is the best he ever is or will be in Toy Story 2.
1,000%.
Yeah, because and one thing I love about how they approach Buzz, writing Buzz in this movie, is he like you said, he fully understands that he's a toy and he's fully accepted it, but he also doesn't lose any of his Space Ranger training. Like, he's still doing like flips, and like he still has all of his leadership skills. Like he's basically merged his Space Ranger side with his toy side to become like the best person he can be. But I think it's really cool that they were able to write him that way, and that's something that I don't think the other movies really emulate. Toy Story 3 started like that, and I'll get with my personal problem with Buzz in Toy Story when we get to it. But yeah, no, it's just he doesn't really meet that level. There's moments like that, even though I think he's in the worst in 4. But there are moments of him being that Toy Story 2 Buzz in Toy Story 4 a little bit, but
1,000%.
it's very fleeting. And
He's
obviously-
overshadowed by Spanish Buzz.
Yeah,
and
and
by
Toy Story
Mando
3,
Buzz.
yeah.
And Toy Story 1 Buzz, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then Jessie, she's so full of energy
Yeah.
and life and so happy, and we learn her backstory, and that's such a great and powerful scene. And she learns her lesson, the same lesson that Buzz does. It's like, it's better to, love and loss, but like to be loved by a kid and go through the pain of no longer having, that kid growing up, than to, be stuck behind glass, not being able to feel that love. And then as far as world building stuff goes with this one, I find it interesting that sometimes severed parts of toys can operate independently and sometimes they can't. So like Mr. Potato Head, all of his parts can move on their own, like their eyes can still see. You know, his hand can kind of crawl back to him. We see that in Toy Story 3 as well when he's Tortilla.
Yeah, but Woody's hand can't do that.
But Woody's hand can't, Buzz's
But
hand
I
can't
think
do
that's fair because like I think the way that Woody and Buzz are designed, they're kind of designed as like one singular
Yeah.
unit.
And that's what I was going to say is because
Yeah.
like with Mr. Potato Head, when his parts are meant to be
Taken
interchangeable.
apart and put back together.
Yeah, and the
He's
only
like
the
I don't know if
only-
you watch Zizzle Circus, but he's like Zooble.
I haven't
Zizzle
watched
Circus.
that yet.
Okay, forgot I said that.
No, you're good. But at the same time, you know, in Toy Story 1, we see all the toys in Sid's room that are cut in half. They're
Oh
still in the
yeah,
room.
that's true.
So it kind of there's questions there. There's questions,
Yeah.
but nothing that's gonna break the
Nothing
entire
that
movie.
if you think about it for too long, it's not gonna ruin the movie.
No, it's not. It's not. It's just like, I wonder what's going
Yeah,
on
that's
here.
interesting. That that happened.
And
Yeah,
then this
forget.
also has Slink being able to speak dog, which I think is just a fun little thing.
I love
like,
the. I don't know if you
Slinky Dog.
remember the blooper. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt
Yeah.
you.
No,
but
no,
I,
you're
I
good.
love the idea of Slinky's head and his butt being like
Being
two different characters,
different characters.
and they never
Yeah.
re-explored that idea in the future movies.
No, and
but I think it's so
Slinky's
funny.
butt being almost like his pet. Like
Yeah,
his dog.
it's
like
so
who's
funny.
a good little boo.
Who's a little butt? Who's a little
Yeah.
butt? That's so funny.
That's fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that brings us to Toy Story 3.
Yep.
An hour in. So like I said, kind of as we were talking about it before, this movie is bookended by some of the best storytelling of the modern era. I love the beginning and end of this movie. Middle's a little messy. We'll talk about that in a second. But
Yeah, middle has issues, but I don't think it ruins the overall movie the way that Toy Story 4 or even like another Pixar movie, Monsters University. I think the middle and Monsters
Yeah.
University definitely killed the movie for me.
Absolutely.
But yeah, the middle is still like in the grand scheme of things, it is the weakest part. I agree.
Yeah, but at the beginning, it's a love letter to Andy and him playing with the toys. Like you get to see
actually
what
seeing
was
his
in
imagination.
his
Yeah.
imagination, what's going on.
That was really cool to see.
You get the homages to both of the openings from Toy Story 1 and Toy
And
Story
Toy
2.
Story 2. Yeah.
That are just fantastic. You get the evil Dr. Porkchop
Oh, yeah. That was
payoff,
fun.
which is fantastic.
Which another side tangent, Toy Story 3, there's a mode in that called Toy Box mode, and that entire mode is basically based off of that opening scene in Toy Story 3. You actually get to play in that
that's cool.
world.
So it's like the toys have all their powers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Okay, cool. I'll
Yeah.
have to check that out.
Yeah,
for
yeah,
sure.
it's a good game.
But then we get into the movie proper, and this is almost right away I start to have issues with how the movie is going. The toys, for the most part, like the ones that are left, as they were characterized before, were always very, like, whether they did it begrudgingly or did it because they respected him, they always trusted Woody. They always trusted Woody to be the leader, to have the right answers. Obviously when they thought he murdered Buzz, they turned on him then.
Yeah.
But, when he was back, they were always like, okay, what would Woody do? What's Woody going to have for us? And then when he's trying to tell them that Andy was going to put them in the attic, they don't believe him. Like, they
Yeah.
completely
Yeah.
think that he's lying and think that
Yeah.
he's just going off to college and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, when has Woody ever lied to you?
And
other
to
than
this capacity.
To
And,
this
even, and
capacity.
even when you thought he was lying and you found out he was telling the truth, like you have enough of a character analysis of Woody at that point to know that he's not lying about that. But
Yeah. And to know that, like, okay, if Andy did take them to the curb, Woody would go rescue them from
Right,
going to the dump. And he
exactly.
would be like, hey, guys, Woody threw you out. I'm really sorry. That really sucks. Hey, there's this donation box. Maybe you can try Sunnyside. Or like, hey, let's sneak you up into the attic. He didn't realize, Andy
Yeah.
wasn't thinking straight. Like, he would have done everything he could. He wouldn't lie to them. Like, he
No.
would be honest with them
But-
about
yeah, I feel like they did that to, I guess, right away for them to get to the daycare in the middle of the movie. But I feel like
Yeah.
they could have done it a little bit better. Like, okay, maybe they do believe Woody, but they're like,
But
you know what? We don't want to be in an attic. Let's just go to the daycare, and that could be the conflict.
Exactly.
I think that would have been
Exactly.
better.
And it's a missed opportunity to have
Yeah.
Woody talk about this transition that he went through with Andy's dad. Like, we could have
Yeah, that's
gotten
true.
a moment where he's like, hey, guys, I know this is really rough. I spent some years in the attic after, Andy's dad grew up. But then, Andy's dad had Andy. And if I had left, I wouldn't have gotten the years that I've had with Andy.
Right.
If I had left when Andy's dad was done with me. But I was there for Andy's dad, and now I was able to be there for Andy. and have these years. Wouldn't you love if we have another Andy coming down the line, even if it's 10 years from now, he's 17, so it could be like,
oh yeah, 10 years. That makes sense. Yeah,
it could be like 3 years from now we could have
3 years
another
old,
kid.
yeah.
Hey, I had a kid when I was 22.
That's cool.
When I had my first kid.
I'm 26 and I still don't have a kid, but
it
happened. I get it.
Different strokes.
Yeah, exactly.
But it could happen.
But no, you're right. You're right.
Listen, if he has a wild college years, he could have a kid at 17.
At 17, exactly.
Yeah. My mother-in-law had her first daughter when she was 16.
Oh wow.
And so So
life happens. Life happens.
It could be like 2 years in the attic, and then they're back out on the
exactly.
on the playmat.
Exactly.
And so it's just a missed opportunity for me. There's no perspective. Andy's just like, no, guys, they're in the attic. What, you don't want to go to daycare? Like he's not making very compelling arguments, and they're just choosing not to believe him when he's telling them the truth.
That's a very
so that's an issue. But like you said, I had the same thought of like, they go, okay, Woody, we believe you. Andy wanted to put us in the attic, but we don't want to go to the attic.
Yeah.
We have the chance to go to daycare. Daycare could be fun. Like, just let us try this out. And at that point, you get to the same end point.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you still have your
you don't
conflict.
have that.
I mean, a conflict is good for movies like this because I think that's probably
Oh, yeah.
the best parts of the Toy Story movie, when the toys have conflict or conflicting views on from each other. And if you want a conflict,
1000%.
that's a better conflict than a liar reveal when we all know he was trying to put them in the attic, and but it's just very frustrating.
Well, yeah, and that's the whole thing, is that as soon as they realize Andy did want them in the attic, they go, "Oh my gosh,
Woody was
Andy
right.
did want us.
Oh my God,
we
we're
made
so
a huge
stupid.
mistake.
Oh my
Yeah,
God, we should have been in the attic this entire time."
It's like Woody was telling you. You should have just believed him.
Yeah.
And so that it's kind of silly that's the. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really change the.
It's still got from point A to point B. It's just a little bit annoying. And it's not like
it's
the entire
messy,
movie was just that. Like if the entire movie was just that, then we would have a problem. But it wasn't. Like we moved past that plot point. Like that was like maybe like what 5% of the movie, them arguing over the curb or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I mean, I don't love Woody's decision to abandon them and to leave them there at the daycare. But again, his whole thing is, I'm gonna be there for Andy, so I'm gonna go be in the college box.
And again, like I think, and we're gonna talk about this more in Toy Story 4, but like that was his viewpoint at the time, that he learns a lesson and he realizes, oh no, like I need to be there for my family. Like we're a family. Like, I can't abandon you guys.
Exactly.
And then obviously that changed the Toy Story 4, but we'll get that. We'll get there.
there.
We'll get there.
And so, they so let's talk about the ending, because the ending is just fantastic.
Yeah, I don't think, ever since I got to college, I don't think I can go through the Goodbye Andy scene without like tearing up a little bit. Like that's how powerful it is. Like even though I've seen it as a kid multiple times, seen it as an adult, like recently, or when I got to college essentially, and seeing it again, like I was moved by it. Like, it's a great scene.
Yeah, let's back up a little bit. I consider the ending to be from like the moment that they go to the dump, like the final climax.
Oh, okay, that ending. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So they get to the dump. I have some thoughts about Lotso, which I don't know if we have time to get into, but he didn't really do anything that evil until he decided not to push the button to stop.
Well, that's
which
debatable.
He made some bad decisions. But nothing that was irreversible.
He gaslit. What's her name? Maybe it's a boy. The baby.
Big
Daisy.
Baby.
Yeah, Daisy. Big Baby, but his actual name is Daisy, or her actual name is Daisy. He basically forced newer toys to be played with toddlers, and kind of made a monopoly to that benefits
I
them.
think that's kind of the right move.
Because
he explains it. He goes, the way he explains it to Buzz is, the toys are, they're a little rougher, but we're the older toys and we can't take that kind of thing. So we asked the newer toys.
The fact that he didn't tell them,
he has a healthcare system in place where if you do get broken by the toddlers, they'll fix you up. They show that, but they'll restuff you, they'll fix your wheels.
But they didn't sign up for that. Like he basically just was like, hey, like, look how beautiful Sunnyside is, and then he just tricked them into going into the caterpillar room without telling them. Like, if he told them what was up and gave them the choice, then I'll be okay. That's justified. But like,
Well,
no,
that's the
and I
part
just feel
that
like, yeah, good.
that's the part that I agree with. Not
Yeah.
giving them a choice to leave
Yeah.
is one thing, but
Like, it
at
makes
the same
sense.
time, if he's
It makes
if he's
sense.
yeah,
Good.
if he's protecting his community, you know, the older toys that literally can't be played with that roughly, then you know, and at the end of the day, the toys were donated to daycare to the Sunnyside, so they are property of Sunnyside. So him keeping them in the building is kind of helping protect, you know, Sunnyside's assets. But anyway, it's a change.
Yeah, we don't
He's a
have to
bad
talk
guy.
about
He's a
right
bad
now.
guy.
Yeah,
He's a
yeah,
bad guy. He's a
yeah.
bad guy. I just don't think he's. I think that his system.
He's the worst one. He's the worst bad guy. Like, I mean, in terms of like
No.
him
Stinky
being
Pete's
evil.
worst.
He Stinky Pete's
worse.
No, Lotso's worse. Lotso's way worse. You know,
Stinky
but
Pete was threatening to completely dismember Woody.
okay,
like limb from
but
limb.
Lotso. Well, not even talking about him abandoning the toys in the dumpster. That's a whole other thing. Him like,
Chat, what do you think? Who's?
I feel like Lotso's way worse than Stinky Pete.
Well, I
just
mean,
because-
he condemned the toys to die, so that is an evil thing
Yeah,
that he did. Like,
but
he,
just
I'm not
him
denying
like
that.
pretty much making a monopoly, just feed his ego and making the other toys feel like trash.
I
like,
don't
I
think
just-
that's what's happening at all. The
I
toys
think that,
in the
but that is what's
butterfly room.
happening. Yeah, I think that's what's
The
happening.
toys in the butterfly room are having a grand old time, and he
But
says
only because
you
he
pay your
allowed because they
dues.
were following him. Like,
No, you pay your dues in the caterpillar room, and then you get to move into the butterfly room. It's a hierarchy system.
I don't like it.
I
Like
no, you
Ken
don't
said,
like it?
like Ken said,
again-
Lotso made a pyramid and he put himself on top.
Well, the way that they set it up at the end, because it's the same system at the end, but they kind of rotate toys in and
It's
out.
a better system.
It's a better system.
But like Lotso didn't want to do that because he wanted it to be the big toy. He basically forced himself to be in Woody's position in Toy Story 1 by fear, like what you were saying that Woody was in Toy Story 1. That's
Yes.
what Lotso actually is.
Yes, I agree. He's a bad guy. I'm
Yeah.
just saying he's not. It could have been so much worse.
I think he's the worst.
I-
I think he's the worst. But
Well,
this isn't about Lotso. Maybe we can have another debate about Lotso.
Yeah,
but like,
yeah,
this,
yeah,
we're not
yeah.
talking about Lotso. We can move on from this. But he's the worst villain. He's the worst
he's
villain.
a bad guy. He's
and
a
you
bad
can't
guy
change my
for
mind.
sure.
He's the worst villain.
He's definitely worse than the Toy Story 4 non-villain. That's
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah, he is. Yeah, I agree.
I think Woody's the villain of Toy Story 4, but
I
we'll
don't
get to
agree with that at all.
But yeah, so yeah, from that moment with the claw, when the
Uh-huh.
claw comes down, you know, you have that really impactful moment where all the toys are holding hands, and then they have that claw payoff, which is a payoff from Toy Story 1.
Oh,
with,
yeah.
you know, the claw.
Also,
and then it's also a payoff from Toy Story 2.
Yeah.
Because those aliens came from the Pizza Planet truck, where they knew how to control the truck, so they know how to control mechanical things.
and
so
they
knew how
repaid their
to-
debt to Mr. Potato Head.
and we are eternally grateful. And
Yeah.
then, yeah. So many great things
Which,
with that moment.
I noticed this on my recent watch of Toy Story 4, but they're not in Toy Story 4, the aliens, which is that's a choice.
I mean,
That's a choice, yeah.
I think they're there in the beginning when she's playing with all
Oh,
the different
probably,
toys.
yeah.
But I
they're
don't
not.
think they get taken on the vacation.
Yeah, no. That's
and- and
they're
so-
like pretty much the mascot. Like they're the minions of the Toy Story movies, and
They're so much better than Minions.
no, I mean they are. I mean, I just use it as like a reference, but like as to show their impact to the overall franchise, and them not
Yeah.
being in 4 is like that's weird. But yeah, sorry.
Oh no, you're good. So we talked about briefly that moment where Andy's mom walks into his room and has her like catching her breath moment, and
Yeah, that was a great
absolutely
moment.
makes me tear up every time.
Yeah,
Because my mom had that exact
my mom
moment
had
when I moved out.
My mom
Yep.
did too.
It's real. It's
Yeah.
real, and they play it perfectly.
Yeah, they do.
And then Woody pays off his time at Bonnie's, like the little bit of time that he spent. Like he knows, okay, this would be a safe place for the toys to go instead
Yeah,
of the
exactly,
attic.
instead of the attic.
But importantly, he just writes it on the box and lets Andy decide.
Yeah.
Do I put these toys in the attic or do I give them away? He
Yeah.
still lets it be Andy's decision.
Yeah.
Which I think is really important.
Yeah.
To his character of like, you know, I think it would be best if the toys went to Bonnie, but I'm not going to take that decision away from Andy. I'm not just going to, you know, because in Andy's mind, the toys are already gone, right? They're already in the dump. Like that's what he thinks what happened is that they got thrown out. Andy's mom took them. And so for all as far as Andy's concerned, they could have just gone to Bonnie's house and become her toys, and he would never have known about it, and he would have thought they were destroyed. But Woody gave him the chance to decide: do I give these toys to little Bonnie down the street, or do I keep them for myself and for my future kids or whatever? And so he left the choice in Andy's position, which I think again is very important for Toy Story 4.
Yeah.
And then
And
I don't know if you have anything to say on that.
yeah, no, like all that is very accurate, and the idea of Woody giving Andy the choice to not only give his toys to Bonnie, but also give Woody to Bonnie.
Yeah.
He left that all to Andy. But I will say, I do think it's still Woody making the decision, it's a decision for himself to go with Bonnie instead of going with Andy. Even though ultimately, yeah, the way he set it up, he did leave the ultimate decision in Andy's hands. He still wanted to be with his family, his friends, and along with making another child happy. Like I do think he did double back on his choice in Toy Story 2, because in that movie he was like, I need to be there for my kid no matter what, and he starts off in Toy Story 3 as I need to be there for my kid no matter what, and then he realized that, oh, Andy isn't, I mean, he's still my kid, he'll always be my kid, but I don't get fulfillment out of just being there for Andy and just being with Andy. I get fulfillment out of making kids happy. And that's part of the reason why I think he decided to go in that box instead of staying in the college box. But like you said, he did let Andy make the final choice. So it's not like he just hid in the box to where Andy couldn't find him, and then he stuck with Bonnie.
Yeah.
He still let Andy make that final decision.
Make the choice.
Yeah.
And I think too that I agree with you, but the point of clarification I would make is that being there for Andy doesn't mean if Andy throws you out or gives you away, you have to sneak away and go back to Andy. Being there for Andy is you're Andy's toy, and whatever he decides to do with you is what you go with. And if that means he gives you to another kid, that was Andy's decision, and that being there for Andy means doing what Andy wanted you to do. And so him going to Bonnie, like him putting himself in the position to be given to Bonnie, is definitely on him. Like he's saying, like, it's almost him communicating to Andy by his appearance, even though if Andy can't really recognize it, he kind of does when he looks at Woody, of going like, you're not supposed to be here, but I think you're meant to be here in this box. It's time for you to move on to the next kid. But I think that's what Andy recognizes, and that was Woody's choice to get in the box.
Yeah.
And kind of him telling Andy like, hey, I think it's time to let go and to give me to this new kid. That would be best. But it's still Andy's decision what he does with them.
Right, and I agree with that too.
Real quick shout out for people who have joined since we got on. This is a fundraising thing, so all the money that we make from the stream, all the ad revenue, any super chats that come in, it's all going to be donated to St. Jude. So if you guys want to give, there's a link in the description below that you can give directly. But also if you send in any super chats or questions or anything, no, you're good. Anything like that, it's all going to St. Jude. So we can help give the finger to
cancer, yeah.
To cancer.
And also, Jiff, we have not gotten to Toy Story 4 yet. We're recapping all the Toy Story movies right now. We're on Toy Story 3, and we're
almost done.
Yeah, we're almost done. But yeah, just adding on to what you're saying. I get that argument that, and we both agree that it was ultimately Andy's decision to give Woody away from Bonnie. But, and yeah, you can also wrap that around to say that, being there for Andy also means doing what Andy wants. And yeah, Andy did want Woody to go to Bonnie because he made that ultimate choice. But that's the equivalent of saying, of being so I don't know if you watch Game of Thrones. But you do, okay. So that's the equivalent of being the king's right hand and suggesting something to the king, and then the king agreeing with you. Like Andy would have never thought to give Bonnie away from Woody unless Woody made that choice. So ultimately, it is still Woody's choice to go with Bonnie. It's just he needed Andy's approval.
Yeah.
To do it the right way, essentially.
Yeah.
So I still think ultimately it is Woody's choice that causes Andy to make the final choice.
Yeah, and we'll, again, it's the meme of this stream. We'll talk about this when we get to Toy Story 4.
Right.
But if Bonnie had a oh, you're broken, I don't want to play with you anymore moment with Woody and like left him at the campground, absolutely fine for him to go run around with Bo Peep.
Yeah, I guess I can see that. I can see
but
that. And that,
but she
yeah, yeah,
yeah, and we'll get to it.
yeah,
But she didn't
yeah,
do that. And so and use your analogy of the hand of the king, like yes, it is a suggestion from the hand of the king, but the king can say no.
yeah. The king said no.
And that's he's putting the power in there. He's not trying to usurp the king's power.
Yeah,
But yeah, we get the scene of Andy giving his toys to Bonnie and introducing all of them to her,
Yeah.
which is a great way for those toys, and you can almost, it's kind of weird to say, but you can almost see it on their faces, of how they realize that, like, oh no, Andy cares about us. He remembers
yeah.
us.
Like they get
He
one last
remembers playing
playtime with
us.
Andy.
They get one last playtime. Even remembering all the memes of, evil Dr. Porkchop and, the characters. And it's great too, because if we're supposed to believe that the toys' personalities come from their owners, like in the way that they play with them, the way that they imbue them with their personalities, him doing this pass off and explaining all of the lore and the backgrounds and the characteristics of these toys is going to allow Bonnie to play with the toys the same way that Andy did. With the same kind of, not meta information, but like, Woody is kind and he's strong and he cares about his friends. Like, that's Woody, but that comes from Andy.
Yeah.
Jesse loving critters and like being, the roughest, toughest cowgirl in the wild. Like, Bonnie wouldn't have had that context because she didn't, grow up with the show. But she now knows that and can kind of, that can inform her play. Mr. and Miss Potato Head being together, like all those things, being a part of that handoff, I think is really important, and such a great writing moment for the writers to be able to do that in such a way that is a send off for the characters. It's a send off for Andy. It's a passing of the torch to Bonnie, with doing the toys. There's even this moment, and this is again on the filmmaking side of things, where when Bonnie gets Jesse and she kind of touches her face, they play this really subtle, but it's like
when somebody loves me.
No, they just play a really subtle chime as soon as her hand touches her face, and it's like, that's almost like Jesse having that moment of like, I'm gonna be a little girl's toy again. Like I'm gonna get to relive this moments, and it's subtle. You almost don't notice it, but for something called attention to it.
I actually forgot about that. Yeah,
it's really subtle, but it's like it gets that reaction because her face is frozen, but you feel that moment.
You feel like her reaction to it
because you know her character.
Right, right.
And then the toys get one final playtime with Andy, and he's running around, getting to play with them, and they get that last send off before they are transferred over to Bonnie, and they even set that up well so that it's not weird that a 17-year-old kid is playing with a kid, because their moms know each other.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if you watched who the Nostalgia Critic is, or Doug Walker.
Yeah.
He made in one of his This December videos, he made a review of Toy Story 3, and he called Andy a dweeb for playing with his toys with this little girl.
No.
And I'm like, no.
What an idiot.
Yeah, exactly. Like, even as a kid, when I still respect him, so I'm just not as a huge fan of him anymore. But even then, being in my NC era, I thought that was a weird thing for him to say. Like, even now, like I like whenever I like play with a kid that's like a friend or family, or even like my nephew or something like that, I play with them like as if I'm a kid, and I'm playing with their toys like as if, so you can get into it and get on their level. This is what you do when you have kids. And a bunch of parents do that with their kids too. Like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And both of their moms know each other.
Yeah, exactly.
And so, like, it's a family friend.
Yeah.
It's not some random kid that just showed up and is now playing with your little girl.
Yeah.
It's also intentional, and they really thought about it all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's see. What other notes do I have on this?
Yeah. I guess just paying off what we alluded to with when we were talking about Buzz and Toy Story 2. I think he starts off Toy Story 2. Dr. Polk. And I don't think the Nostalgia Critic is an absolute joke, but he definitely has fallen off. But anyway, I think Buzz starts off as the competent Buzz that we see in Toy Story 2 and the beginning of Toy Story 3. But like you said earlier, he does kind of get shafted overshadowed by Spanish Buzz. Yeah. And he pretty much doesn't come back into play until like pretty much the last act right before they go into the incinerator, which is a little disappointing, especially since we haven't seen that character in over 10 years at that point. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was he did have a role. He kind of took over the leadership role once
Once
Woody
Woody
left.
left, yeah.
And he went to confront Lotso and was, had his moment of, flying up to that window above the door, and then, going and doing all that. So he had some moments. He
Yeah,
had
his
some good
moments.
moments. And then we get, back to factory reset Buzz,
Yeah.
which is fun to see again. Spare me your lies, Temptress.
Yeah,
Like,
that was funny. That
that's
was
that's
funny. I
fun.
liked
Like
it.
he recognizes his attraction to her, but like is still
Yeah.
in army mode.
Yeah.
And then Spanish Buzz is just fun. But I think Jessie is the one that gets the least amount of work done here.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
She really gets
sure.
overshadowed by everything. The only attention she gets is when Buzz is in Spanish mode, and she's just kind of taken
By
with him.
fawning over him. Yeah.
When we could have had a lot more of like, I think she has one line where she's like, "This is Emily all over again," or
Yeah. And she has little moments of like being a leader, being assertive, but it's just too far in between. This is mostly just
There's not
Woody,
enough.
a movie about this is mostly just a movie about Woody. Which is, I guess you can argue that's what all the movies are, but this is mostly like Woody's movie. Woody and like
they're all
maybe lots.
yeah.
You
You just could have done more.
Yeah.
Could have done more for her. She was such a main character in
in
Toy Story 2.
2.
That for her to show up in Toy Story 3 and just really have nothing going on
Yeah,
is kind of
that's a little-
disappointing.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see
That's
that.
foreshadowing for Toy Story 4, where that's
Yeah.
all the characters except for Woody.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we'll get to that.
Yeah.
Let's see. One of the big world building things with this movie that I am not a fan of at all is how they act like being played with by toddlers is some new horror that they could never have imagined. When we know for a fact that at least Woody, Rex, and most likely Rex because it's more of a toddler toy, and Mr. Potato Head would have been Andy's toys as when he was a toddler, and they had Molly in the house. We see in Toy
Well-
Story 1 when she slobbers on
Yeah,
Mr.
on Mr.
Potato Head
Potato
and
Head.
breaks him apart.
Well, my argument against that is there are a bunch of those little kids in there wrecking havoc, and that was probably very overwhelming for them. Whereas they probably did get played with Andy and Molly as toddlers, but it was just two kids,
But at the same time, we've also never been shown that playtime affects the way that the toys feel when they come alive. Like there's never like they get done playing with Andy, they're like, "Whew, oh, my back hurts a little bit from that." It's like,
we've also seen Andy be very gentle with the toys. Like, I mean, he roughs them up a little bit, but like not enough for them to like have that reaction. And then you even go back to Toy Story 1 with Sid. Like whenever Sid finished playing with Woody and Buzz, like, he basically tortured Woody with the magnifying glass, and he had a reaction to it right after that too.
Yeah, that's true. But like Potato Head, when he got destroyed by Molly and like all of his parts were flying everywhere, he was just kind of annoyed. He wasn't like shaken up by it. And again, it's a small thing. Like I think it's more interesting.
I don't remember. And full transparency, I haven't watched Toy Story 3 in a few months. I did it for my other video, but I don't remember Mr. Potato Head having any sores or like groaning or a little bit after being played with. I remember that bit of him and Mrs. Potato Head getting their parts together. I remember that, but I don't remember being in pain.
Right before that, he was like, "Oh,
oh, did it? Okay, I remember that. I remember that.
Yeah,
Okay, never. Sorry.
Yeah, but yeah, and I mean, I don't like the explanation that they're older toys than they were before, because obviously Woody, Bullseye, and Jesse are 60-year-old toys.
They're old.
And like they didn't act this way when they were 50-year-old toys.
Yeah.
I wasn't a huge fan of Buzz going into demo mode and that changing his personality, because that implies that his memories of the last 10 years would have been stored on his circuit board, which doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, that was
for toys who don't have electronics.
Yeah, that was a weird.
And then he gets hit on the head and it all comes back.
Yeah.
And so, it's like, what's going on with that? Like, does that mean like if you get in there with a multimeter and hook it up to a computer, you could see Buzz's memories?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a little strange.
They never really explained that. Maybe they'll do that in 5, but I doubt it. I doubt they're gonna go.
It was just a way to get
Buzz back to normal.
Buzz back to factory Buzz. And then you know, a way to get a by and large cameo in
Oh
there,
yeah, 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 yeah,
with the
yeah, yeah.
batteries, and
Wally,
then
we
to
love
get
Wally.
Spanish buzz. Like there's fun memes to be had, but it raises a lot of questions that they didn't really want to answer, and that's
Yeah,
fine, I
yeah,
guess.
that's
But
whatever. It's a movie
um,
about toys coming to life.
right, but I always assumed that
There are
their
logic
memories and
about
everything
it.
was more of a
Oh
soul thing,
yeah,
because like
yeah,
obviously the toys that don't have batteries are electronics.
yeah.
Speaking of batteries, they're treated as currency. In the poker scene, there are batteries that
Oh
they're
yeah,
gambling
that's
on,
interesting.
which I think it's fun, but it's like, you know,
What?
why would that be valuable
Yeah,
to a
I
toy
mean,
that
money
doesn't have
gives you
batteries?
life, but like not in that way, you know. Like
Yeah, and like, what would a toy like Woody do with a battery? Like,
yeah,
why would that be valuable to him?
yeah, exactly.
Again, it's just little things that I picked up on while I was watching that. But these are like nitpicks. The movie overall is pretty decent, except for the issues that we kind of went over. And I think, personally, I think that this is the best the score gets across the three movies. I
Oh
think that
yeah,
the music in this movie is so perfect for every single
yeah. The
moment.
Goodbye Annie scene, that score there is
Yep,
like probably one of my favorite Pixar scores of all time. Like it is so good.
1,000%.
Yeah, and then We Belong
Um,
Together. Andy Newman, Randy Newman's
yep.
ending theme is probably my favorite Toy Story song in the entire franchise. Like better than You Got a Friend of Me. You
You
probably
got
don't
in
think
front of
that.
me holds a special place in my
Yeah,
heart, but I don't begrudge anyone. We belong together for sure.
yeah. We belong. It's great. Yeah.
All right. And that finally brings us an
To Toy
hour
Story
and
4.
27
Yeah.
minutes into the stream to Toy Story 4.
Yeah, so we're gonna
Um,
break this up, right? So we're gonna like do a brief plot synopsis, and then kind of talk about our individual thoughts about certain things. So we're gonna go in
yeah,
order
I
of
mean,
how you sent it to me, or how we're gonna break it up.
yeah, I'll just do a quick kind of breeze through of what happens in this movie, just
Hmm.
in case anybody hasn't seen it. I mean, it's made billions of dollars, so I'm sure everybody has. But
Yeah,
um,
or at least everyone knows what happens at the end.
right
Yeah,
at the end, and that's our biggest contention,
yeah, that's gonna be our
that
biggest.
we wanted to talk about in this
Yeah,
stream. But you know, so we have the opening of this movie, and unlike the first three movies, it's not an imagination scene or a play scene, or something that is telling you anything about, you know, Andy's imagination or the world of the toys and where they came from. It's a flashback.
yeah,
It's a flashback to something that never happened, in the scene, and it genuinely, because the reason that this scene exists is so that they can pretend that this was the case all along.
right.
From as I watched the movie, right, and you might disagree, but
Yeah.
this feels very cynical.
I
It
think
feels
so, and we'll get to this part because I know exactly what you're gonna say. You're gonna say the way that they wrote Bo
so.
from
So
this point.
let me just
Yeah, go
run
go
through
go
the
go
scene
go.
real quick,
Yeah, go
and then
yeah, go
we can
go.
talk about it for a
Yeah,
couple
yeah, yeah,
minutes.
yeah, yeah.
But so the scene opens up. You know, we got a toy outside in the rain, Mr. RC,
We gotta
and
save
he's
him.
stuck in the mud,
Yeah.
and he is obviously very well animated, and all the effects look amazing. And this is Pixar just kind of flexing their animation skill muscles
Probably one of the best
in this
looking
scene.
Pixar scenes, like at
Oh,
that point.
easily,
Yeah,
easily,
yeah,
yeah. And so they decide that they need to go save him. They have to go to Molly's room to help him out. This exists in between, as I understand it, Toy Story 2 and 3, because they're obviously still at Andy's house.
Yeah.
And so Bo is still there. So this is before Toy Story 3. And she's there with her goats, which she invents names for, which they didn't have names before, Billy Goat and Gruff, which, first of all, that's racist because they're sheep, and that's the name of a
It's
goat.
racist. And they never
Uh,
had names. They never had names, right?
They never
Before
had
this was-
names.
Yeah, it was interesting.
And also, Woody forgets their names later
Yeah,
when
which
it's
is-
literally
that's
the
actually
easiest
kind
thing
of-
to remember. Billy
It's
Goat
kind of
Gruff.
weird that he forgot their names too, which another plot hole.
1,000%.
Another plot hole,
And it's
yeah.
like, I found out the names of your sheep the night before you let the night that you let. It's like, okay, no, obviously you didn't.
Like you spent so much time with
Um,
her. How did you not? Go ahead.
Exactly.
Go ahead.
So they have this thing where they go up to the window, and there's this really elaborate way for Jessie to jump up onto the window and unlock it, when Woody could have just given her a boost and it would have been done in about 2 seconds. But we need to show that Barbie was there the whole time,
Yeah.
as well. When
Yeah.
she which I'm fine
Also-
with Molly
also-
having a Barbie.
To pause you
Um,
for 1 second, have you seen
oh, you're
Gamer Magic 13's video on this on Toy Story
I have
4?
not.
Okay, because he's going through.
I
you're
was
going through
recommended
this,
it.
You're going through this like he is right now because he. So it's a 6-hour video on why he hates Toy Story
Oh.
4. he spends the first 30 minutes completely dissecting and tearing apart this scene. And it's just so ridiculous.
Oh,
But
okay.
I mean, you're not doing it in the way that he's doing it, but he took apart everything in the scene, down to the physics of how the toys save RC, which I think is so dumb. It's a Toy Story movie. Like there's
I mean,
physics problems with all the movies.
for
Like, all
sure.
of them have,
I think I don't think there's a chance in hell that Slinky would have been able to stretch that far.
right.
But again, it's a Toy Story movie.
Yeah.
They kind of play with that stuff.
He does make good
It's-
points, and you'll probably make those points too when I'll reference them when you do that. But him taking apart the physics I've been talking about, even down to the street in the backyard of their house, like who's focusing on
Listen,
that?
I am famous on my channel for being a pedantic jerk, like just getting into the nitty gritty of the most nonsense things, just because I think it's fun to talk about that.
Yeah.
Not necessarily, and at the end I'll go, but it doesn't really affect the story in any way,
Yeah.
and just move on.
Yeah.
But I do think those things are interesting, so I might have to check out that video. I have
Yeah,
not
go
seen
ahead.
it yet though.
Yeah, good.
But
You might
yeah.
like it because I mean he hates Toy Story 4, so you might like it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I might enjoy that.
yeah. Go ahead.
But
I'll
yeah,
stop
so
interrupting.
they rescue RC. They bring him back inside right as Woody's about to climb up. They have to close the window, or Andy's mom closes the window because someone's coming to buy Bo Peep, and we are learning why Bo isn't in Toy Story 3. And I think there's a meta reason for that as well. Didn't the actress? Is it the same actress from the original one,
It
or
is.
did she pass?
No, same
okay.
same actress.
It's the same one. They just didn't want to deal with her going to Sunnyside because she's a porcelain doll and
Yeah,
she'd probably get broken
I
immediately
think,
if she did anything
I think
active.
the director's commentary for Toy Story 3, Lee Urkich, director of Toy Story 3, he said the reason why they didn't have Bo Peep in 3 is because she would have like melted in the incinerator scene, which is
Yeah.
true. But
It's true.
She does some crazy stuff in 4 that a
Yeah,
porcelain doll
some-
probably shouldn't be doing, but you know.
1,000%.
We'll get there.
Yep.
We'll get there. We'll get
Excuse
there.
me. But yeah. So, she's being given away to this other guy, and so Woody goes down, and the guy conveniently forgets his keys so that they can share
Yeah.
one last moment together.
Gaming magic that I tell you about. He made that
Okay.
point too. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
he pulls her under the car, and they have a little moment together. And she is like, "It's okay, I'm not Andy's toy." Bonnie, or not Bonnie.
It's time for a new choice. It's time for a new kid or something, or the next kid.
Yeah, time to go on to the next kid. She didn't want me, and so he has this moment of like, I can't believe this. Like, a toy is leaving, as if this is the first time they've ever lost a toy.
Yeah.
Which
but
I
this is
don't-
a special toy to Woody.
It's a special toy to Woody. He had the mistletoe moment with her, so I get it. Like, if my lady decided to leave me, I would probably try and keep her around too.
Yeah.
But it's a moment where he has to kind of confront his feelings for Bo, and kind of weigh it against Andy. And he has a moment where he's about to climb into the box, and I personally, for me, that's immediate character assassination. I
a
don't
lot
think
of
that
people.
Woody would even consider getting into that box. I know Woody can be emotional. He can do this or that. But the thing that's screaming in the back of his mind should be, Andy. Don't leave Andy. You're
And
Andy's
again,
toy.
I think it's a similar situation to Toy Story 2, where if he did go through with going to Japan or even going with Bonnie, he probably would have came to that conclusion that, oh, I kind of want to be there for Andy. I think that should have been my life's purpose instead of pursuing Bo Peep. So I think it's mostly just a fleeting feeling, kind of like, I know you hate this movie. I know you hate this movie.
Well,
with The Last Jedi.
It's more that I'm disappointed with this movie more than I hate this movie.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about. Sorry, I was referencing Last Jedi as the movie that you hate. But you remember in Last Jedi, Luke said that he was about to kill Kylo Ren because of a fleeting emotion. Even though I don't think that's a great motivation for, because the whole reason for that scene is so Kylo can turn against Luke. I don't think that's a great way to do it, but I think that's a great way to show Luke being weak in that moment. This is kind of like this is Woody's moment like that. And even I know you don't like Last Jedi because we talked about that too.
Yeah,
it's a fleeting moment. Go ahead.
But even the Last Jedi moment, it's the toddler's version of that moment. The way that it was written, of he goes into his hut and he is standing over him and he has the fleeting thought and he ignites his lightsaber to follow through.
I didn't like that.
And then he decides not to. It's like, the way that you write that scene if you're an adult person who trusts their audience to interpret what's saying is Luke is meditating. He has this vision of Ben turning to the dark side, and he has his like eyes snap open, and he has this fleeting thought of, does that mean I need to kill him? And then you kind of show, Ben was there in the room, and he sensed that emotion. He sensed that Luke had that moment of wanting to kill him, and he just runs away. There's not a force pull the entire shack on top of us. You don't need the lightsaber igniting or anything like that.
Yeah.
Like, you can achieve the exact same outcome.
Yeah, exactly. There's ways to get the exact same outcome. It's kind of like what we're talking about
without it being so contrived.
Like, with the argument of who Andy put in the mountain of curve, like, you could have gotten to the same moment that you wanted to get to without making it dumb. But
1,000%.
It's had to do the dumb route. But yeah,
they did it because it's the toddler's version of not trusting the audience to see Woody's thoughts. You could show it in his facial expressions of, like, he kind of grips the box a little bit harder and was like, his mind is worrying. He's thinking about it, and then his hands release and he goes, "No, I can't do that to Andy."
I'd argue
they have him about to climb into the box, and then Andy comes out. Where's Woody?
Yeah,
I'd
argue.
Oh yeah, Andy exists. I should probably not leave him.
That is way more subtle than both those examples we gave. Granted, I can see
it's not subtle at all.
I can see the argument of I agree, it's not subtle at all. I'll give you that, but it's more subtle than Luke Skywalker igniting his lightsaber about to kill his nephew to convey the moment of him feeling like he's going to be in the dark side and he has to do something. It's more subtle than that. Can you at least agree with that, or no? You think it's the same?
I mean, I think that a bomb going off that's 1 pound of C4 is more subtle than a bomb that is 5 pounds of C4. But I think that neither of them are subtle. I could say that one's more subtle than the other if you want to use that word.
Okay.
But I don't think either of them are subtle at all.
Okay.
Personally. I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
One is not as bad as the other, technically, but I think they both do damage.
And yeah, it would have been better for it to be like Woody gripping the box, looking at Bo Peep, and then being like, I can't go because I have a kid. It would have been better. Yes, I agree with that 100%. But I think the way that they did it, the way that they conveyed it was fine. Just, it could have been better. Like, I agree. But the way that they conveyed it was fine.
I think the way that they conveyed it makes it character assassination where the other way would not have. I think that having him come to the realization of it on his own without having Andy come out and like remind him.
Yeah.
Exactly. It'd be like because she has that line of like, kids lose toys all the time, and like he's like, oh yeah, it's like, what are you talking about? It's like, it'd be like your mistress saying, hey, kids lose their dad all the time. Like, dads walk out all the time. Why don't you just come with me?
Yeah,
and dad being like, oh yeah, you're like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, I see where you're coming from, and I agree with you, but I don't think. But
it's that scene. It's that scene, and then his kid runs in and goes, "Daddy, where are you?" And he goes,
"Yeah,
oh, yeah,
I get it. I don't think it's as bad as. I don't think the scene is bad enough to be a full-on character assassination, because I still think it's a fleeting moment at the end of the day. Because both the ideas of him gripping the box and him actually almost getting in the box is still him having a fleeting moment of wanting to go with Bo Peep. It's just one is a little more subdued than the other one.
Well, but I think the problem with,
because at the end of the day, you come to the same conclusion. He doesn't go in the box because he realizes that Andy should be his priority at the time of of his life in the story.
But we got to remember the whole reason for this scene existing is because we're supposed to believe that like this moment has been living rent free in his head for the last 9 years, and as soon as Bo Peep shows back up, he's right back in that moment of like wanting to jump in the box with her.
Yeah, and
that's completely not the way Andy or Woody is throughout Toy Story 3. There's no thought of abandoning Andy at any point. Yeah, it's always we got to be there for Andy.
Yeah, and like I'll give you that, and and we are gonna talk more about Bo, and we can talk about Bo now if you want to, but like I do think the way they wrote Bo Peep in this movie did service the plot of this movie and not really service the entire franchise. I like that they made Bo Peep a little bit more assertive and kind of in some way give us a reason why Woody even liked her in the first place. But she is essentially a different character, and her whole purpose was to give Woody a reason to leave Bonnie and the rest of the toys. And I think that is weak writing, but at the same time, I don't know how they would have done it if that was their end goal. I'm sure there are other ways they could
They
have done
shouldn't
it,
have done it.
or that too, or not even make a 4. Like, don't make
Yeah,
Toy Story
don't
4.
make a 4.
Yeah, don't make a 4.
Don't make a 4 that does this. Because if you have to if you have to time travel to give Woody a motivation that he never had in order to pay off this thing that you want to do, it might not be the right thing to do. Because if you have to invent a backstory for something in order to have a payoff,
Or go ahead.
Again, if you want Woody to, for some reason, ride off into the sunset with Bo Peep, nobody's toy, no purpose in life other than I need to save lost toys and get them back to their owners, but I'm never going to have an owner again. Like, if you want to do that, you don't have to do this prologue. You don't have to flash us back. You just need to have Bo Peep give him really good arguments when they meet up again.
Yeah.
And have them do that. And then have that moment where he goes, I would really love to do this, but Bonnie needs me. And then have Bonnie have this moment where she decides to leave Woody behind. That she's like, no, I'm really not interested in playing with you anymore. I really want Bonnie now, or not Bonnie, Jesse
Forky,
to be the sheriff
or
now.
Jesse, yeah.
Yeah, and Forky, I've got Forky, and where she's at the playground and another little boy comes up and starts playing with Woody. And she goes, yeah, you can have him. I don't really care about him. And then she leaves, and then the little boy leaves and doesn't play with Woody. At that point, Woody can have a little existential crisis of, oh, I'm a lost toy, like he did at the beginning. But we have the knowledge of, like, he's not abandoning Bonnie. And he can be like, okay, I find a new purpose with, like, it would be lame. It would suck to see him treated that way, especially after Andy was like, you got to take really good care of these toys.
But kids move on from toys. I think that's
kids move on from toys.
Yeah.
That's just a reality, and that could be what this story is about. Like, how if you're a toy and your kid literally does abandon you, because we've never seen that. We've seen that Jessie was forgotten about, but then she was carefully and lovingly donated by Emily. To whatever donation thing, then somehow she got in the possession of Al.
Yeah.
We've seen Andy always care for his toys, never be flippant about them. But some kids are like that, and maybe Bonnie changes her character a little bit.
Yeah, and I don't think that's a bad idea. I know a lot of people didn't like that Bonnie change, but I think that's realistic for a kid to not always love the same toy throughout their life. Right,
but then they kind of doubled back on that because he was one of the toys that she brought on this RV, on this vacation of the few toys that she could choose out of all of the toys. And so I think it's just broken. And then at the end of the day, for Woody to choose another toy over his kid, that his original kid, entrusted him, like, again, that goes back to that discussion of being there for Andy means being there for Bonnie. Whether she wants you there or not.
Yeah.
Whether she wants to play with you right now or not, you're there until she literally has discarded you.
And I don't think, because I know, like, I see the argument that he left Bonnie for Bo Peep, but I don't think it's necessarily, I don't think that's necessarily what's all the way going on. But the way that
Do you think if it was any character other than specifically Bo Peep giving him that sales pitch of abandoning Bonnie to go ride off in a motorized skunk, do you think he would have followed along with that, or do you think he would not have done it unless it was Bo Peep?
Well, technically it was Bo Peep and Buzz. Buzz kind of gave him his blessing to go off.
Yeah, but that's not real Buzz. But Toy Story 4 Buzz is not real Buzz. We'll talk about that.
He has little bits of Buzz in him, but I do agree he was written the worst out of all the toys.
He's a complete R word. Like he.
I wouldn't say that, but
his first real scene, he's sitting with Woody, and Woody's like, "Yeah, my inner voice is telling me this," and he's like, "Inner voice,
inner voice. Who do you think it is?
Like, as if he was born yesterday, and he thinks it's his buttons telling him. What are you talking about?
Okay. As much as I don't like it, I do think that's funny, but it is not Buzz. I agree, it's not Buzz. I know it was funny. But it's not Buzz.
It's so
it's not Buzz.
bad. It's
not
so
Buzz.
lazy.
It's not Buzz.
It's not Buzz at all.
No.
It's not even.
But it's funny.
No.
I think it's funny.
Yeah.
I mean, even after rewatch it, I was like,
it's not even Toy Story
cute.
1 Buzz would think.
No,
he wouldn't think,
not.
oh, you're in a, because he's like, he's
not.
a space ranger. He has all the context of what a conscience would be. He has all the,
Exactly.
revenge is not a concept that we promote on my planet.
Right. He knows
We're
what
not
a
on my
conscience-
planet.
yeah,
Like that's
yeah.
completely like
that's
really heady
it's not
stuff.
Who Buzz is, but I mean, it's funny. And I think that they do take the gag in a way that is funny, but it does ruin.
But that's his whole character for the whole movie.
Yeah,
So
the
movie is he pushes a button and does what the button says.
I agree with you. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think it's a great thing what they did to Buzz. I still thought it was funny, but I get.
If you think it was funny, I'm happy for you. I'm happy you thought it was funny. But
yeah. Like, I wasn't I was disappointed, but I wasn't upset. I was still entertained. But I was disappointed.
It's Bud Lightyear.
It's Bud Lightyear. It's Mr. Lightbeer.
Bubba Lightyear.
It's Mr. Lightbeer.
Mr. Lightbeer.
Yeah.
Bud Lightbeer.
Bud Lightbeer. Yep. Yeah, but no.
He's complete. But
going back to I do think the purpose, like I said earlier, the purpose of Bo Peep was to push Woody into the decision to leaving Bonnie and becoming a lost toy. I do think that was their purpose. So yeah, I don't think any other toy would have pushed him to that decision. But no. I think the failing of Toy Story 4, for me personally, and why, initially I thought this is like it executed Woody leaving Bonnie and the toys perfectly initially, but after watching it, I think the biggest failing is that it didn't earn that ending. I still think the ending of him leaving Bonnie and the toys is an interesting idea. I still think that's an interesting idea, and I still think that could be a good arc for Woody to conclude to. It's just the movie doesn't earn it because it doesn't spend enough time with that theme. It spends more time, being a comedy, like having Key and Peele as Ducky and Bunny, having Keanu Reeves as a motorcycle, Buzz with the inner voice. It spends more time being a comedy than it really dissecting that theme of what a toy's purpose should be. And I think if it had more scenes like that, I think Woody coming to that conclusion would have been more satisfying. But I don't think they had that.
But I don't think the theme itself is bad.
You think
because we had 3 movies answering that question. Mm-hmm. What does it mean to be a toy?
Yeah.
What is a toy's purpose? What is a toy supposed to do? The first movie is what is a toy who what does it mean to be a toy who's being replaced by a new favorite toy? Mm-hmm. Like that's a terrifying thing for a toy to go through of like, I'm no longer the favorite. It's my identity crisis, my insecurities, and kind of learning like, nope, it's not about me. It's about my kid. And then the second movie is, okay, do I have the choice to be something other than a toy? Like, can I go be a collectible? Can I go be a piece of art? Can I go do this? And the answer is yes, but that is not what's going to be most fulfilling. Like that's not your ultimate destiny as a toy. The third one is, okay, what happens when not only that fear of what happens when Andy grows up and dealing with that, then what happens when it actually happens? Like, do you just suck up your fate of going to the attic, or going to college, or going to the trash even, or do you try and make your own destiny, try and go somewhere and do something? And at the end of the day, it's whatever the toys are supposed to do, whatever the owner wants them to do. And kind of that's the whole theme of like being there for Andy, being the only life worth living is being loved by a kid. This is your kid. You are kind of tied to his will, in a sense, for your life. To not to make it to predestination or anything like that. Oh, I forgot we have this whole video.
Oh yeah,
that I should have been playing the whole time. There you go. Now you can have something interesting to watch.
Toy Story 4 teaser.
Yeah, I got the teaser and the trailer back to back on here, copyright covered.
Yeah.
For the Zorro Cave. Anyway.
Yeah.
So you have all those 3 movies that reinforce this theme, and then you get to number 4, and it's like, nah, you can just F off if you want to, and go run around with your porcelain princess, your porcelain bimbo, if you want to, and you'll find what. Tell me this: what satisfaction, what purpose is Woody gonna find that's not gonna that's going to be a higher
I
calling than
think
being loved by a kid.
the goal of this movie that it failed at was to give Woody a reason to leave Bonnie and to find fulfillment out of being a kid's toy. And the reason that they or the his new passion, his new motivation that they came to, which I think is a good idea, it's just it was poorly executed, is him giving other toys that opportunity to be a child's toy. And that's like his ultimate goal, his ultimate new fulfillment in life was to make other toys happy with other children. And I think that's actually a cool idea because, like, you know, Woody's lived a full life. If we go with the Pixar day, he's lived two fulfilled lives because he was also Andy's dad's kid. So he's already been through the life of what it means to be a toy twice. So I think that's actually a cool idea for him to help other toys fulfill that purpose, especially toys who don't have the same opportunities and the same privilege that Woody did. I think that's actually a cool idea. But like I said earlier, I think the movie didn't really do a good job of setting that up. And you're not the only person. I mean, we all know you're not the only person that didn't agree with Woody leaving. But I have friends who are casual Toy Story fans that also said Woody shouldn't have left, and that wasn't, and also said that Woody would never do that because I don't think the movie did a good job of like setting that up. And I think you had a great idea earlier about like Bonnie being more aware that she's leaving Woody behind and Woody accepted. I think that would have been cool, but you know, we wouldn't have had that, you know, kind of forced emotional scene of Woody saying goodbye to everyone if that happened. But I do agree that if it was more of Bonnie's choice to leave Woody or some sort of like mutual agreement between Bonnie and Woody, like the mutual agreement between Andy and Woody in Toy Story 3 of Woody, you know, going to the new phase of life, I think that would have been good too. It's just we can probably talk until the sun blows up on how we could have written this movie a lot better, but the way that they wrote the movie it just wasn't it for a lot of people.
Yeah. So can I ask you, do you like this movie?
I still like this movie. I still think it's a good movie. It just has a lot of flaws. But
what do you like about this movie? Like, what do you find meaningful about this movie, or is it just you like the jokes and the memes, which is fine if you do.
I like the jokes and the memes, obviously, but I do like the idea that it presents of what a toy's purpose should be, and a toy like finding their own purpose outside of what's expected out. And I think that's a cool idea, even if they didn't execute it in the best way. I still think that that's a cool enough idea to have it be alongside the other Toy Story movies that came before. And I don't necessarily think that this movie necessarily ruined what came before either. It's just another story on top of it. But it is very disappointing, and I do agree that this is the worst Toy Story movie because it doesn't really have a focus identity. But it's still an enjoyable movie. I don't think this is a bad movie by any stretch of the imagination, but it is disappointing.
So you would characterize this as a good movie that's flawed.
Yeah, I would say like this is. I think on Rotten Tomatoes this has like a 94% or 97%. I would say this is a solid 80%, maybe 85%. If I were to rate it out of 100%, I don't think it's an amazing movie, but I still enjoyed it. Like I think it's still a fun turn off your brain movie, but I don't think it's like as good as the other Toy Story movies.
See, that's the thing that. And again, I'm not trying to do a gotcha or anything like that.
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, we just spent the last 2 hours going through these first three movies of how meaningful they are, how intentional they are, how much good story is in there, how much good writing is in there, how much intentionality is in there, and then to go from that in that ending of Toy Story 3 for all of Toy Story 3's flaws. It stuck the landing, and it goes, this is the perfect send-off. You know, it closes the chapter on Toy Story as a whole, and then they go, might as well put out another one. It's time to make some more money, and for the reaction to be, it's according to Rotten Tomatoes, 97% for you, 80% of like oh yeah, it's fun. You kind of laugh and turn your brain off. It's like that's not what Toy Story has ever been. Is not a turn your brain off type of thing.
I agree.
It has always been a search for meaning. What does it mean to search for meaning? What does it mean for a toy? And there's a lot of things that you can extrapolate from toy to human. You know, and a lot of the struggles that
Yeah.
Woody goes through, that Buzz goes through with his identity crisis, that you know, the abandonment of Jesse,
Yeah.
like that's something that kids go through.
Yeah.
Like it's dealing
And
with these big things in a
yeah.
way that kids can understand.
Yeah.
And Toy Story 4 comes along, and its big thing is, am I trash? No, you can be mean. You can. Someone
But
can find you meaningful even if you're trash. It's
yeah.
like,
But
okay, great.
again,
What a
like
great message for kids. If you're
I
trash, someone might like you.
yeah. I don't think okay. I did say it's kind of a turn off your brain. It is most of the movie is, but there are moments where it does dive into those existential oh my god philosophical themes with
There you go.
Woody finding his purpose in the world and his purpose of not
But it's
being
not a
behavior anymore.
purpose.
I think it
There's
is.
no there's no it directly contradicts the entire premise of the first three movies of what a toy's purpose is, and it's to be loved by a kid.
I think it tried to flip it on its head, but again, it doesn't really do it in a great way. But it attempts to, and I have to at least acknowledge that, even if it doesn't do it well, or excuse me, not.
Do you think?
Go ahead.
Do you think that writing should be praised for making an attempt at something interesting, or for actually doing something interesting?
That's a great question. Because
I can say this movie that I'm making is going to be the best movie that has ever been, and we're going to deal with themes of love and loss, and you know, finding yourself, finding your identity, and I can say that in the director's commentary, and I can put that in the trailers, and I can have my actors promote the movie that way. But then you watch it, and it's just slop and meaninglessness. Do I get points for my quote unquote attempt to do something meaningful and something good? Or is that even a bigger point of criticism because I wasn't able to stick the landing on that?
I think the attempt, depending on what it does for the movie, and I guess in this sense for the franchise, should be commended, even if they don't all the way stick the landing. Because I do think it's an interesting idea to kind of flip like the purpose of a toy on its head and kind of flip it on and say like, oh, like should a toy only follow this one singular purpose that's expected of them, or should they do something that they want to do? I think that's a cool idea, and I think that's probably why I still think this movie is good.
But do you not feel? How do I word this? Do you not feel a lack of feeling satisfied with the answer it gives you? Because you go, this is an interesting idea,
I feel
but they didn't execute
satisfied
it well.
I feel satisfied with what they did, but not satisfied with how they did it, because it could have been better.
You don't think that there would be more to explore with that question that they didn't get into?
Like, what do you mean?
You think they touched on it? They gave you the resolution that you would expect from that story. They didn't really stick, you know, do everything along the way, but the resolution is everything that you wanted out of that concept. Or do you feel like that they really that they gave you an answer at the end, but they didn't actually go deep into what it means for a toy? Because that's how I feel. Because I go, okay, so you want to explore the world of toys, of what they would do if they weren't toys, like what they could do if they had their own agency, to do their own thing. I think they completely fumbled the ball on answering that question.
That's fair.
Completely, because their answer is, you just your purpose is to help other toys be toys.
But I think again, and this is something that they didn't really explore. But I think Woody, being the surrogate to help other toys find their people works for his character because he's already experienced that, and like I said, he probably experienced it twice. So I think that actually does work for his character. But like I said, I don't think they did it. I don't think the executor really explained that very well, which is why a lot of people are very mixed on the ending. But
here's the thing: it's he didn't need another toy to help him find his purpose before. He had his toys that were around him. He had like Buzz, and he had, you know, his friends there. But he didn't have this mystical rogue Robin Hood toy running around saving toys. Like I find it such an invented purpose that is so disconnected from what the purpose of a toy should be.
You're right. I mean, you're right that he didn't need a toy or another person to help him come to that conclusion because he made that conclusion on his own. Like in all these movies, because you can make the same argument about Toy Story 2. Like Buzz was the toy that convinced Woody to go back with Andy. If Buzz didn't show up, he probably would have still gone to Japan with the rest of the Roundup game. But Buzz was there to convince him that, hey, this isn't what you want to do. And then Woody realized that, oh yeah, this isn't what I want to do. And I'm not saying that like
Sorry, I was talking about when Woody was like in Toy Story 1 was quote unquote a lost toy, or in Toy Story 3 where he was taken to the wrong house, like he was picked up by Bonnie. Like he had enough agency to be able to get back to Andy's on his own without needing the help of a Robin Hood toy, which is the role that he's assuming.
So what are you saying? Are you saying that he didn't need? What are you saying? What are you saying?
Like Woody, Toy Story 1 Woody didn't need end of Toy Story 4 Woody to help him get back to Andy. Like he was very like Woody was able to find a way back to Andy without needing a Woody to help him. So Woody's role at the end of Toy Story 4 of helping lost toys find their owners doesn't seem like it's a necessary
not
role.
They're already established owners, owners, because that's what he did for Gabby. Gabby, he helped her find a new owner. Same thing with the other toys. That's so. What are you trying to say?
But I don't think that's a necessary role, because for any toy, all they would have to do is get themselves to a thrift store or get themselves to a daycare. Like
okay, I see what you're saying.
Like what Lotso did.
I
just show up on the door, show up in a sandbox, and you're gonna get played with, and a kid's gonna. My kid has brought home toys from the park that I've never seen before.
I don't necessarily see it as a Robin Hood situation. I see it as more as sort of a passing of the torch, like someone that's helping other toys get what he had in life. I don't really see it as like a Robin Hood or like, I mean, and it's written like that, sure, but like, I see it more. Go ahead.
But he's giving up his own relationship with his kid that he is supposed to be there for, according to his entire character arc, in order to help other toys who have been abandoned by their kids find new kids and hopefully have their own stories. But he's abandoning his own thing, and they probably don't really need that much help. Like,
well, you don't know their situation. You don't know. I mean, toys already have it so bad. Like they don't really have a choice in who they're with, who their owners are, like if they even get played with at all. So I think like I mean, there is a purpose for what he's doing in that sense of like, you don't know what a toy goes through to get to those people, if that makes sense. So I think a toy's way of getting to an owner is vague enough that having Woody be there to help out, I think there is a purpose there. And him abandoning Bonnie, yeah, okay, I agree. Like maybe he shouldn't have given up on Bonnie so soon. I can see that argument, but I do also think that he probably didn't feel like he could have given Bonnie any more. Like Bonnie pretty much already.
But that's not the point.
What's the point then?
Of being a toy
Okay.
is again,
So-
it's not
But
what,
the movie-
what
this
you
movie-
can get out of the relationship
Right.
is that's Toy Story 1.
But
it's being there for Andy.
We already
whether
established that being a toy, or a toy in a traditional sense, is what a toy should want, right? We've already established that even back when we talked about Toy Story 2. We both said that if Woody wanted to go to Japan, he would be justified in doing that. And we also agreed that he probably
I
wouldn't
didn't
like
say
it.
that.
Yes, you did. You said that he wouldn't be bad or he wouldn't be selfish for wanting to go to Japan, right? I think you said that. I feel like you said that.
No, I said he would have regretted it if he went.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think he would have regretted it, but he wouldn't have been selfish if he wanted to do that.
Oh, it's completely selfish.
Okay.
It's
I mean,
completely
it is, but
selfish.
he's not.
And if-
He's not.
and,
He's not wrong for doing that. That's what we said.
I mean,
You did.
if I said that before, I must have misspoken, because that's not what I believe. I think he would have been wrong to do that, because that is not the destiny of a toy.
But
I think
I
I
don't.
said that if there was a toy that nobody wanted to play with and its only value was its collectability and go to a museum, then yeah, go for it. But that was not Woody's situation, and so if that's something that I said then I apologize. That's
Okay,
not
that's
what I
fair.
meant to convey.
That's fair.
I think it would have been if it depends on Woody's motivation. If it's his fear that he expresses to Buzz of like one more rip and Andy's done with me, I can go here and last forever as Stinky Pete says. If that's his motivation, that's definitely selfish.
It is.
That's a self preservation.
But I don't think he's bad for wanting that. I think it's bad for him to want that.
I think it is, and because again, a toy's purpose is not to find their own destiny and to fulfill their own purpose or to do anything for themselves. They don't have the same human, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, anything like that. Like they're design. It's the Rick and Morty meme. What do I do? You pass the butter. Oh my god. Like,
Well,
it's a toy's purpose is to be played with.
And that's where I disagree with you, because toys do have human emotions, and the point of these movies is to show that they have human emotions. Even the act of them wanting to be played with is a human emotion. They want to have a purpose and to fulfill that purpose.
So maybe that's our fundamental difference there.
Yeah.
Is that I believe that that the toys come to life and they have their own personalities, but that's almost the spirit of their owner, or maybe just to not sound like too much of a pretentious person, but the spirit of play more broadly that has infused them with life, and it's the life of the energy that they bring to playtime. When Andy plays with them, and you play with toys, it's like you kind of look at a toy and you go, oh, I think I know what you would sound like, and the way that you would talk and what you would do. It's like that kind of spirit of play is what has imbued these toys with life, but their purpose is to be played with, and life isn't worth living unless you're being loved by a kid. Whereas you seem to be like, no, these are almost like creatures that have been manufactured, that have their own souls, that have their own ability to manifest their own destiny, and that they can have a purpose outside of being toys.
But
am I correct?
No, you're correct. But
okay.
I do have.
So that's our
fundamental argument with your viewpoint. Because again,
but I just want to make sure that I represented that correctly.
You got it.
I wasn't trying to be facetious.
No, like that. You definitely you hit the nail on the coffin. Or
so that's like that's our fundamental.
But and to add on to that, our interpretation. I don't think I'm wrong in thinking the way I think. I don't think you're wrong in thinking the way you think. Toy Story is so broad that you can kind of interpret it in any way you want to, because there's no real clear answer to why a toy is alive or why a toy is like the way that they are, because they never answer that, and they never should, because that's kind of the magic of these movies. But I will say a argument against what you just said about how a toy's personality is based off of what the kid themselves, the personality they imbued in the toy in playtime. I don't know if you saw the short, the Toy Story That Time Forgot. Have you seen that short? Okay, so and it's debatable on how canon these movies are, because Toy Story 4 kind of forgets those movies exist in some instances. There are references.
Did they come out around the time of Toy Story 4?
No, they came out after Toy Story 3. So when the franchise is still quote unquote good, but it was obvious that Disney had desires of milking it. But that's besides the point.
Because weren't those Disney Plus exclusives? Or
no. These were out before Disney Plus was even a thing. Like I think.
Okay, so these were like on the DVD for.
No. These are TV specials.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I haven't seen any of these.
Yeah, they're good. You should watch them. Not all of them are good, but they're pretty good. Anyway, but yeah, a Toy Story That Time Forgot. So in this I think Christmas special, is set after set something after Toy Story 3, obviously, but it's during Christmas time, and Bonnie is bringing some of her toys to her friend's house. Her friend got like basically this giant like Ninja Turtles or He-Man esque set that's basically a bunch of dinosaurs who are all delusional. They're actually like the show that they're based off of. But the main character in the show is Trixie, and Trixie's whole character arc is being disappointed by Bonnie playing with her in other roles besides her being a dinosaur. Like Bonnie plays her like she's a reindeer, or if she's like a nurse or like something else besides her being a Triceratops. And her arc in that movie is realizing that she should be okay with whatever Bonnie chooses her to be because she's her toy. Now, that her the lesson that she learns does prove your argument, but it doesn't mean that the toys' personalities are based off of how the kids play with them. It may have some influence, but it doesn't. It's not their sole purpose or
No,
their sole
and
motivation.
yeah, I more meant like
Okay.
it's more of a. It goes back to like Toy Story 1, where like Slinky's kind of dog like. Woody is kind of like the sheriff. He's kind of the leader.
Yeah.
Bullseye, he kind of acts more like a dog than a horse, but he is very horse like in the way that he talks. Bo Peep is very kind of prim and proper, at least she used to be. And then the visuals on screen when I say that are kind of funny.
Yeah.
But then you go through but like with Rex, like he wants to be scary, but he just isn't. And so I'm not claiming that what a toy was designed to be is the way that their character is, their personality is, or that necessarily the way that the kid plays with them dictates what their character is. But I'm kind of saying like that's why I called upon the spirit of play as like this kind of nebulous like the way that the toy is played with kind of matches their personality. Like a pig is not inherently evil, but evil Dr. Porkchop, and like
Yeah. I was about to
but
make
then
that point too.
In Toy Story 3, when he is in the imagination, it's like
He's
it's the same
evil.
voice. It's like you could see Ham playing that role.
Yeah.
And so but again, that's kind of getting in the weeds
Yeah.
of that type of stuff. I think our fundamental disagreement and why we view the ending of this movie differently is I don't believe toys should be allowed to manifest their own destiny, and you believe that they should.
Yeah, and I at least find that more interesting, or at least an interesting way to think about it. Because we're right. Toy Story, the first three movies, kind of taught us what a toy should be in our eyes. They should want, because like even back when it was Toy Story 1, when you're writing a movie about toys, you kind of have to go off of what you already know about toys. Like, what would a toy's motivation be? Well, we play with them, so obviously they will want to be played with. That should be their main motivation, and that's kind of the theme that they've been carrying in the first three movies. Toy Story 4 comes in and says, "Hey, so what if a toy finds more besides wanting to be played with?" And I think that in of itself is like, oh wow, like that's actually cool that toys could have other purposes besides what we think they should have. I think that's a more fascinating idea than them just only being what they should be. And I'm not saying that the first three movies are limited or are bad because they only explore things within that limitation. In fact, I think the fact that they do that and we're able to tell really good stories because of that makes them better movies. But I do think that exploring the idea of toys finding other purposes outside of, or I'll go beyond that. I'll go beyond that. In Woody's specific case of him helping other toys with what he had and giving them the privileges that he had but they didn't have. I think that's actually a really nice idea, even if, and we both kind of agreed, they didn't really execute it very well. But I don't know. I like that idea of like toys finding more out of life outside of what we think, what we as humans or even them think is expected of them. Just because I think it just adds more to the world, in my opinion. But I know you disagree with that, which is fine. But I just
Yeah, I mean, I think it's helpful to find that, because I think that if if that was something that I was interested in exploring of what a toy could be beyond just being a toy, I think that could be something interesting to explore, but I don't think that the way that they did it in this movie makes me have any interest in seeing anything regarding that at all. In fact, it makes me think that it's a bad thing to explore because of how poorly implemented it was, because he's abandoning his kid in order to pursue his own dreams when the entire premise of the first three movies is selflessness in pursuit of being there for your kid.
Mm-hmm.
And so for him to be like, I've paid my dues, I've done my time, now I get to do something for me.
I
I think it's or not necessarily do something for me, but to abandon what I have declared my purpose to be up until this point of being there for my kid, even if it's for some noble end. I mean, the it's the whole thing. The road to hell is paved with good intentions.
sure.
He might have noble intentions of helping these toys, but in doing so, he's abandoning his kid. This kid that I mean, we saw the end of Toy Story 3, really cared about him and was excited to have him as a toy and loved playing with him. And they retcon that at the beginning of Toy Story 4, but I don't think that proves anything other than they're trying to make it make sense when it still doesn't, despite their
Right,
efforts.
and I'll give you this, and I think we both agree that Toy Story 4 didn't do a good job of setting up any of its themes that it was trying to do. But I will give you that, yeah, I do think they kind of forced that idea on you by making Bonnie, even though we both agree that it's realistic that kids do lose interest in certain toys. I do think it is
Sure.
a little forced that they made Bonnie abandon Woody so quickly for essentially a fork. you know,
Well,
um,
and even beyond that, it's such a short-sighted way to write that because
yeah,
uh,
I
I've
agree.
got I've got a 6-year-old, and there are toys that he gets disinterested with,
Hmm.
and he won't play with, and we'll put them away in the closet for 6 months, and then we bring it out, and he's like, "Oh my gosh,
Yeah, and
that
then they'll come
toy that
back
I
to it.
remember,"
They'll
and
come
it's
back to
it's
it.
his favorite toy for the next 6 months,
Yeah,
and
and the
so
cycle
it's
continues.
and the cycle continues, and so it's such a short-sighted thing to write of like as if Woody hasn't been through this with his Andy's dad, with Andy, and with Bonnie now. Like
Right,
this is his third time having this crisis of, oh, they don't want to play with me. It's like, buddy, you're
right.
like
And
70 years old.
to that extent, I can make the argument that maybe Woody's tired of the cycle and he wants to break it. But I know you're gonna say like, well, he should stick with the cycle because a toy should stick with the kid. So we're not gonna get anywhere with that argument. But I will say, I
I mean, I
think,
think it's interesting, but
yeah,
I think that would be an interesting thing, but that's not what he says.
yeah,
Doesn't say he's tired of the cycle. He's
no,
not tired of being someone's toy.
yeah,
I think he's just yeah, you
yeah.
know
But
yeah. Anyway,
and I know we probably need to start wrapping up in a little bit, but I'll leave it with this. This is kind of like my closing final bill, and I know we're gonna talk about Toy Story 5 after this, but my closing final bill on this, I kind of view Toy Story 4 like the prequels. I think we all can kind of agree that the prequel trilogy. I'm talking about Star Wars now.
yeah.
Again, I think we all can agree that the prequel trilogy isn't. There aren't great movies. I know that they kind of had a resurgence or whatever, but they're not good movies. I don't care what you say. They're not good movies, but they are good. There are good. They're good at world adding more context to the original trilogy because it does set up the original trilogy very well, and I think it is a very believable world that they made to lead up into why things are the way that they are in the original trilogy. And while the movies didn't do a great job of expressing that, I think the Clone Wars, if you've seen that show, did an amazing job of expressing why that aspect of that time period of Star Wars was cool and better set up where the original trilogy is going to leave off. So I think Toy Story 4 has a similar problem, at least in my eyes, where I think the ideas that Toy Story 4 Toy Story 4 introduces, I think it adds something to the world of Toy Story itself. It just doesn't do it in a very great way. And maybe Toy Story 5 could, and I mean, smallest pinch of salt. Not letting my hopes get up by the slightest or whatever, however you say that. But maybe Toy Story 5 can be the prequel or the Clone Wars for Toy Story 4, where they can kind of further explore the idea of a toy's purpose and make it a good movie on top of that. But we'll see. But that's kind of my closing thoughts. You have your closing thoughts on that?
Yeah. I it's kind of funny that those are your closing thoughts because I adore the prequels. I fully recognize that they are bad movies.
Uh huh.
As
And
far as
and they're
the way that they were written,
yeah, they have some entertaining moments in it. But the ultimate bad
they have
movie, but
entertaining moments
yeah.
and they have really high highs for
Mm,
the best moments of it.
mm.
And I despise the Clone Wars show. So that's very interesting
Wow.
that's where we land on that. I'm actually
Wow.
the last video I put out is part 2.
Oh yeah, you
of
don't
a
let the Clone
6-part
Wars. I
series.
forgot about that.
Yeah,
I forgot about that.
it's
Oh
all
man.
good though. It's all good.
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
We we
That was
we have
probably a bad
different opinions
analogy
on
then.
things. No, it's I. You have the same opinion that a lot of people have is like prequels were bad, but the Clone Wars was better.
Mhm.
I hold the opposite on that, but that we'll save that for another stream.
Yeah, for sure.
I look at Toy Story 4 as a whole, and I just say why. Why do you exist? What are you here to do? If you are going to go out of your way to basically take the ending of Toy Story 3 that was such a perfect moment, and then you go, and then this happened. The worst thing that you can do is what they did. You have to have something.
I don't think it's the worst. Go ahead. Sorry.
You have to have something really meaningful to say if you're going to come back after 9 years to make another movie. You have to have something poignant to say, something that you felt was left unsaid by those 3 movies, by the ending of that movie, and you have to do it in a way that is impactful and emotional and builds on what was already there, not that in my opinion completely regresses characters, especially Woody and Buzz get hard regressions,
Buzz more than Woody, in
retcons
my opinion.
retcons things that were set up before,
That's very
so
true.
that they can try and set up payoffs that just kind of come out of nowhere. I think that this is maybe not the worst possible outcome, but this is so far from what would be an acceptable outcome to me that I cannot sign off on it in any way, shape, or form.
And even though I disagree with you, I think your opinion is valid, because if you really don't like the idea of Woody leaving Bonnie and not fulfilling his purpose as a toy, as what was set up by the original trilogy, that's fair. Like I think you're justified in feeling that way. I just, me personally, I think the idea of what they were trying to do is more interesting to me. That I still think this is a decent movie, but I can understand why, if you feel like this is abandoning what Toy Story set up because of how you viewed the movies. Because like I just said, Toy Story is so broad, you can interpret it any way. So if you interpret it in the way that you interpret it, I can understand why you don't like Toy Story 4, because they're forcing their own views of what Toy Story should be onto the viewer. So I can get behind what you're saying, even though I don't agree with it.
Yeah, and I appreciate that for sure. The only thing I would push back on what you said is saying that Toy Story is broad in its messaging. The first 3, I don't find that to be the case at all. I find that it is laser focused on its messaging, and that it's very clear. Every movie has that line, being there for Andy, being Andy's toy. There's nothing, life's not worth living if you're not being loved by a kid. And to have the 4th movie come along and completely flip that on its head, I think you have to stick the landing with how you execute it. Otherwise, it's just a colossal waste of everyone's time and money and brain cells. Speaking of which, I don't have many of those left. So, dude, I appreciate you you sitting down with me and talking about this. Was fun. I had fun. I hope you had fun.
Did you want to talk about your hopes for Toy Story 5 real quick, or did you want to just end it here?
Oh, I've seen the trailer for Toy Story 5, and I am not excited. I think that would have been more interesting to me, vastly more interesting, would have been a prequel goes back to the days of Andy's dad.
Yeah.
And cool. Deal with the first rise of the first generation of video game consoles. I think that would have been a way to talk about the issues that we're looking at today.
You should pitch that.
Well, it's a way for them to talk about the issues today with the technology, and that kids aren't wanting to play toys because they had the same fears around that back when it was video game consoles instead of someone donated
$220.
Whoa! Thank you so much. Thank you, Nero the Game. But all that being said, I wish I could show that on stream. I'm sure there's a way to do that.
Yeah, me personally, it's getting decent reviews, so I'm at least I'm gonna watch this Friday. Hopefully this Friday with my family. So I'm at least like not going to this with like expectations is gonna be like a complete crap show. that being said, I do think the idea of toys versus tech is a cool idea. I just wish it wasn't Toy Story 5. This should have been Toy Story 4 or a spinoff, like you said. Because I do think the idea of toys versus tech is an interesting one. I think that's actually a great way to evolve the series and explore that aspect of childhood and how kids play with or how kids find entertainment now compared to how they found entertainment in the 90s.
Yeah, and
But
the cycles of playing with toys and then playing with
yeah,
technology.
but it
I
shouldn't
think
be
you
Toy
can
Story
do it
5.
without Toy Story 5 being Toy Story 5, but
Yeah.
also like, oh, they're going to go up against iPads. You mean the things that have been around since 2007
Yeah,
that were around for
yeah.
the last two Toy Story movies that they didn't address? And
yeah.
they're talking
They
about
even
it like it's
addressed
this
it in
brand new thing.
the short that I told you about in a time that Toy Story at that time or whatever I just said, the one I
Yeah,
just
yeah.
mentioned. They briefly mentioned that in that movie too, or in that show too. But yeah. Anyway, I think it's a cool idea. I'm intrigued and interested to see how good or misguided this movie is, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, we'll have to see.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, oh, it's not dollars. TRY. It must be some other type of currency. But
Oh.
regardless, no matter how much it is, thank you so much. Like, yes, cancer is cringe, 1,000%, and thank you for donating. Every little bit counts.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah, I'll have to
also,
donate myself.
Iron Mandrill said, "You are a toy."
Yes, you are a toy.
which-
We all are
which
toys.
That is to sum
Also,
up.
Andy's coming.
Andy's coming. Yeah, perfect way to end
Okay,
the
he's
stream.
back. He's back. Okay. I mean, he's gone. He's gone. My bad.
He's gone. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, do you have anything you want to plug for your channel?
Yeah.
Online?
Follow my main YouTube channel. It takes me forever to make videos, but I'm starting to get into
YouTube,
more
buddy.
video game related. Yeah, I know. I'm starting to get more video game related content where I use a green screen. So if you like video games, look forward to more of those at some point this year. And also, if you like Toy Story, I actually made a Toy Story video going more into my thoughts on Toy Story 4 on my second channel. If you want to check that out, I can. Do you mind if I put a link to that in your chat?
Yeah,
Okay,
please
let me-
do, and I'll put it in the description too.
Let me.
I put your main channel in the description, but
Appreciate that. But yeah, if you want to hear my, I guess I think most of you guys agree with Max of Zoro. So if you guys want to hear more of my L takes, watch that video. Yeah, no, thank you for having me on. I think this is a very healthy debate. I think we both kind of are still in our ways when it comes to how we feel about Toy Story 4, but I do understand I don't, after rewatching Toy Story 4, I can definitely see why people don't like it. I still see what it was trying to do, and I still value that what they were trying to do over what the movie actually is. But I understand the hate for it. I still just think it's a good movie. But
yeah, and I appreciate the good faith debate, and
yeah,
it's good to have conversations, even if we don't end up changing each other's mind.
Yeah.
Just healthy discussions, healthy debate. That's what this is all about.
for
So
sure. Also,
yeah, for me,
rugby is sorry. That's me.
oh, you're good.
That's me. That's my personal. I forgot to change it to my main account, but that's my personal account. So
Oh,
yeah.
but yeah, for me, got nothing coming out right now. I'm working on scripts and stuff like that for the next thing coming up. Might be doing a Mandalorian and Grogu video.
Quick
which I think will be fun.
quick review of that. What did you think of that movie?
Bad.
Mm.
It was bad. Have you seen it?
Yeah, I thought it was
Yeah.
fine. I didn't really feel any way about it, to be honest. Saw it in IMAX, which was pretty cool, but other than that, I would have waited to see it in Disney Plus if it wasn't Star Wars. So
Yeah, I went to see it with my boy, and that was fun. He had
Yeah,
fun,
no, and
watching it. But
for a first Star Wars movie in
as-
theaters for him, probably I think that would have been a fun one. So
yeah, he had fun with it. But when he's old enough, I'll explain to him. all the
yeah, and then
reasons
show
why
him
it's
the
bad.
good Star Wars movies if you haven't
No,
already.
he's seen all the
Yeah,
good ones.
yeah,
He's seen all
exactly,
the good ones.
exactly, yeah.
He's I nursed him on that when he was a wee lad.
Yeah,
But
that's
anyway,
awesome.
all right, we're gonna go ahead and end the stream
All right.
here.
Thank you for having
Appreciate
me.
you coming on, man, and
Thank you.
we'll talk again soon.
Awesome, yeah. Okay, y'all have a good night.
Bye.
Bye.
And
I'm trying to end my stream, but it won't let me. There we go.